Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. Today we will see what if Naruto gets female Kiba pregnant. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. Naruto walked beneath the gates. Instantly the feeling of homesickness was gone. He was home. Everything had changed yet also stayed the same. The people got older. Some were added, some had passed on, but to Naruto it was still home. He readjusted the weight on his shoulders and back, then closed his eyes and took in all the smells, engraving the sweet, slightly pungent, and exotic aromas. Naruto opened his eyes to see a familiar pink-headed girl, or should he say young women, run up to him. Strangely, he didn't feel his pulse race, nor did he have any other symptoms that told him he was still in love with the Kunoichi. Strange, I was sad without her, but right now I don't feel anything, he thought sadly to himself. He shrugged it off. Sakura came up to him, her arms outstretched wanting a hug. Naruto, grinning, leaned in and embraced her. They hugged each other briefly, but even in that short lapse of time Naruto felt nothing. No emotions stirred within him, only the feeling of friendship and camaraderie. They broke apart smiling, and instantly Sakura was off about herself and what had all happened, and what Naruto had all missed. Naruto just grinned and nodded, not really hearing much. Then she suddenly stopped and asked, "So what about you?" Naruto shrugged. "Well, I grew, and I've mastered the Rasengan and some other high-class jutsus, and I'm learning sage arts right now. Oh, and I mastered 2 elements," he said with his trademark grin. Sakura gaped up at him. "Wow, I'm impressed." Naruto scratched his head. "Yeah, but what about you, Sakura? Becoming a medic ninja and being taught by the 5th Hokage, that's pretty cool also." Sakura smiled. "Yeah, I guess. Hey, why don't we go and get some lunch? I bet you're hungry from being on the road." As if to answer her, Naruto's stomach let out a loud growl. She laughed and Naruto blushed, embarrassed. "I guess some things never change," she said before waltzing off. Naruto quickly followed after her. They arrived at a place Naruto had not been in almost 2 years, Ichiruka Ramen. They ordered and talked some more, catching up when Kakashi appeared, with his signature, "Yo." Naruto launched out of the chair and brought him in for his usual hyperactive hug. Kakashi was surprised to say the least. Naruto, yes. I am happy to see you, but I don't think strangling your teacher is something you want to do the moment you get back." Naruto sheepishly let him go. "Sorry, I guess I don't know my own strength." Kakashi straightened himself up and said, "Allow me to judge that. Tomorrow both of you meet me at the training grounds, okay?" Kakashi was about to turn and leave, but Naruto stopped him. "Wait," he said, bringing out a wrapped gift. "Jiraiya wanted me to give this to you. Don't rip the paper off like you do at Christmas. I worked hard on wrapping it for you." Kakashi looked at Naruto, then to the perfectly wrapped rectangle. "You did a good job. It's an actual bow, not just a peel and stick." Naruto shrugged. "Yeah, I had a lot of time on my hands," he said, smiling. Kakashi opened it and there inside laid the Holy of Holies, the first edition autographed, pre-released, Makeout Tactics, and Naruto. Was all Kakashi could say. Then Naruto noticed a glint in Kakashi's visible eye. "Kakashi? Are you crying?" Kakashi quickly turned from Naruto and wiped his eye, then turned back. "It is so beautiful," he said, clutching it to his chest. Both Naruto and Sakura said nothing. Then Kakashi said goodbye and disappeared in a poof of smoke. The next day Sakura and Naruto fumed in silent anger as they waited impatiently for a 3-hour late Kakashi. When he finally appeared, before he could even manage to utter a single word of his excuse, both of them yelled out, "That's a lie!" Then stormed off into the grounds, leaving a sweat drop and fearful Kakashi. During this time they participated in another test of getting the bell, which went down like it did in Shippuden. I am not writing it because 1. It's redundant, 2. I suck at fighting scenes, and 3. I doesn't want to. But don't worry, I will have a fighting scene later, okay? Now back to the story. Naruto walked home slightly tired from today's bell test, when he felt a large shadow pass over him. Now being the ninja he was, he instantly reacted by drawing out a kunai, which he had hidden in his sleeve. But a massive and bulky figure landed in front of him. Naruto looked up into dark brown eyes, and a dark tan face with red splotches on either cheek, topped with a mop of brown spiky hair. "Fem Kiba," Naruto thought. "Naruto," yelled Kiba in a loud gruff voice. "You're back." He then was brought into a death-like grip of a hug, for some odd reason being brought so close to such a large strong body. Feeling the hardness of muscles underneath sent a chill down Naruto's spine. The heat sent a slight blush to Naruto's face. Naruto recovered quickly and struggled out of Kiba's iron grip. Is that really you, Kiba? Kiba grinned, his bottom canine sticking out. Damn, he's become so hot, Naruto thought. Naruto blanched. What am I thinking? He's a guy. I can't be thinking like this, he thought, shaking his head. Where is your team? Naruto asked suddenly. Man, you better not start stuttering like Hinata. And they went home already. I was hanging with Akamaru. And with that he put 2 fingers into his mouth and gave a loud shrill whistle. Just then a large white fluffy horse appeared. Naruto could not believe it. He gaped at them. They both had grown so much. Geez, the last time I saw him he could sit on your head. Naruto exclaimed. Kiba shrugged. Yeah, well. Hey, we should talk more. And show off our moves. Meet me at the practice field around noon? Okay? Naruto nodded, then Kiba said, CYA, and jumped on Akamaru's back and rode off. While Kiba rode back home he couldn't help but not think of the blonde. The guy had really grown. His hair was like the sun, so bright and yellow. His skin was so tan and looked so smooth that Kiba wished to touch it. Wait. What the hell? What am I doing? Daydreaming about a guy. As much as Kiba tried to fight it, Naruto, whose face radiated with golden brilliance in the setting sun, kept playing over and over in his head. And the memory of the warmth from hugging him and holding him close sent waves throughout his body. Kiba fell on his bed with his cloths on. He covered his hands over his face. Kami, what is wrong with me? He thought. Now though, as he thought harder about it, it made sense. All the time he had been with girls besides his mother or sister, or his sensei, or Hinata his teammate. It felt awkward and strained, but with guys he was easy and laid back, especially with Naruto. I wonder if he tastes like ramen, he thought, then face-palmed himself. Damn it. Stupid hormones. Why are you kicking in now? Kiba flipped over to his side. Damn, I have to train with him tomorrow also. He sighed. At least I'll be able to touch him though. Shit. Kiba slipped off into an uneasy sleep. Naruto arrived home and dropped all his gear off at the door. He then went and ran himself a shower. While standing there he couldn't help but think of Kiba. He was so warm, Naruto thought, closing his eyes, remembering the hug. The way Kiba's muscular body pressed against his. The way Kiba's gruff husky voice said his name, the doggy-like smirk. Every thought of Kiba overwhelmed him. His scent, his touch, the way he acted. Oh Kami, Naruto thought, gripping the shower walls and letting the water run down his back. God. I feel so hot. He peered down and realized he was half erect. He gasped and quickly switched the shower to cold. He slapped the wall in frustration. Damn. Why guys? Why now? And, why, Kiba? Naruto got out of the shower and slipped into a muscle shirt and boxers, and went to bed. The last thought was before he drifted off to sleep was, I wonder what he tastes like. That night Naruto's dreams never tortured him like they did now. Kiba, harder, was what he yelled out in his dream. He sweated all over and felt a great heavy, but also amazingly hot weight on top of him. Friction rubbed against him. He moaned low, oh, God, Kiba, I want, Kiba. Just then Kiba's voice sounded in his ears. I'm sticking it in, Naruto. Naruto moaned. He wanted it now. But just when the organ touched his entrance he woke up. Naruto sat up. He cradled his head in his hands. No, damn it. What am I going to do with this? He thought, looking down at a large bulge in between his legs. Well, I could, no. I'm not doing anything like that. He thought, and just laid back down, waiting for certain parts of him to calm down. Kiba also had a very hot dream. Naruto. He yelled as he trusted down into heat. The blonde-headed body rocked back and forth beneath him as he went faster and faster. The blonde screamed and moaned, yes, Kiba, faster. And then right before his climax Kiba woke up. A hand wrapped around a very uncomfortable and very hard erection. Kiba groaned and gave himself a few more strokes to finish himself off. He came to the image of Naruto in his head. Kiba sat up. It was 8:30 in the morning. He rose and showered in his own bath, then decided to trash his sheets and get new ones. Kiba sat on his bed corner and rested his head in his hands. What am I going to do? Naruto got dressed and went to the only person he knew that could deal with this kind of stuff, even though he was embarrassed. Jiraiya was the only one he trusted. He knocked on the door, and stood outside switching his weight from foot to foot. Finally a grouchy Jiraiya answered his hotel door. What do you want, kid? Jiraiya asked. Jiraiya, could I talk to you, in private? He asked sheepishly. Jiraiya looked at him weirdly but let him in. When Jiraiya closed the door and turned, he was instantly barraged with a very confused Naruto. "Jiraiya, you have to help me," Jiraiya said. "With what?" Naruto was silent then looked away. I think I like guys." Jiraiya blinked a couple times. "What makes you say that?" asked Jiraiya. "I have really explicit dreams," Naruto said, blushing. Jiraiya sighed. "Well, in these dreams, do you, like it?" Naruto started to cry but nodded. "Oh, crap, he's crying." Jiraiya instantly brought him in a hug. "Hey, it's okay. So what, you think I'm going to stop being your godfather because you like other guys?" Naruto nodded. Jiraiya set him straight. "Look, I'm not like that, okay? So don't worry, but if you are, there are some things you do have to know," and then Jiraiya explained to Naruto of what he needed to know. After a very long, a very embarrassing talk, Naruto went home to gather his gear to get ready for his training with Kiba. Naruto then passed by the pharmacy, and stopped. "Well, if I ever do find a guy, and decide to do it, I might as well be prepared," so he went in and bought some lube. He came back out and went home, put the bag on his bedside table and picked up his kunai holster and went out to the training grounds. Kiba dressed and prepared for his training against Naruto by trying not to remember his dream last night. He played with Akamaru passing the time, then a little before noon made his way towards the training grounds. When he walked in he saw his blonde, "Wait. He's not mine. Why am I thinking like this?" Naruto wore a simple pair of a light orange, almost a dusty orange pair of capris and a black jacket left open with a blue shirt underneath. He turned towards Kiba and instantly his thoughts, and some blood, went south. "Damn, I just fixed you this morning, stupid horny penis." Kiba flexed his hands and back trying to keep his thoughts away from Naruto. "So how are we going to do it?" Kiba asked, then realized what he said and quickly said, "You know. The training. Are we going to spar, or what?" he said, trying to save himself. He looked at Naruto, who for some odd reason was looking at him weird. He just stared at him. It sent chills down his spine. Then Naruto snapped out of it. How about taijutsu?" he yelled, then a slight blush went across his face. Kiba looked at Naruto more closely. "Wait a second, I think he likes me too." With that, Kiba grinned. "This is going to be very interesting," Kiba thought to himself. "Okay, Naruto, I hope you know what you're getting yourself into," he said. Naruto turned to see Kiba walking with Akamaru. Naruto almost fainted at the sight. He had his fur-lined gray jacket on over top a very form-fitting fishnet shirt. He had black cargo pants slightly baggy, but oh my gosh, he is so hot, Naruto thought. Just then Kiba said, like out of a dream, "How do you want to do it?" Naruto almost screamed to take him now, hard in the ass, before Kiba mumbled out, "You know, training, are we going to spar? Or what?" Naruto shook his head. He couldn't believe the thoughts that ran through his head. A slight blush went to his cheeks, then he realized Kiba asked a question. How about taijutsu?" he finally said, thinking, "Well, at least I'll have Kiba touch me." Then he blushed even deeper. "Damn. Stop thinking like this." Then Kiba did the most weirdest and predatory grin that sent a shock into his system. A glint came to Kiba's eyes. "Okay, Naruto. I hope you know what you're getting yourself into." Then with that he commanded Akamaru to go and wander around until he called back. Kiba threw his weapon's holster on the ground. Naruto, who was still in a daze, did so more stiffly. Then Kiba launched into a series of kicks and punches at the blonde. The blonde was taken by surprise but was pretty good at defensive maneuvers. Kiba had to admit, Naruto was good at this. Naruto was smaller and slimmer. His body was made to be mine. No, he thought, mentally slapping himself. Naruto's body was made for speed and stamina, something he had since academy days. Kiba had some speed, and he had more stamina than others, but Naruto had it overall. The thing he lacked was strength. Naruto made clones to make up for it, but in a taijutsu only fight he couldn't make clones, thus Kiba had an advantage over him. Kiba pressed Naruto back more and more. Naruto lost ground but still put up a good defense. An idea rose into Kiba's head. Wait, Naruto has always been a hot head. Kiba smirked. Come on, Naruto. My grandma can punch better than you. Kiba taunted. Naruto growled and charged forward. Falling into Kiba's trap, Naruto came at him, sending a series of jabs and thrusts so fast Kiba couldn't block them all. But to a well-trained ninja like his, it was like throwing rocks against a wall. They hit and stung but didn't really do anything. besides make him grunt in slight pain. Naruto flipped back and landed on his feet, like an acrobat. Man, I wonder how flexible he is. Shit. Not during a fight. Kiba took his mind off of it by barreling forward like a maniac. He took a few swipes at Naruto. Naruto dodged, blocked and parried, but Kiba did a fake. Naruto fell for it and Kiba's fist connected with Naruto's jaw. Naruto's head snapped back. Kiba winced. Oh, that had to hurt. Naruto fell backwards and fell on his ass, rubbing his jaw. Kiba stopped. Hey, you alright? Naruto nodded. Look, I thought you would have dodged. Kiba was cut off. Cause right then Naruto barreled into his chest full weight, knocking Kiba on his back with Naruto over top of him. Naruto straddled his chest and was about to send a couple well-met punches at Kiba's face. Kiba caught one of Naruto's hands, then flipped Naruto over. Naruto grunted as his back connected with the ground. Oh no. Kiba's pressing weight made it impossible to move. Kiba's hulking form leaned over him in cockiness because Kiba knew he had won. Naruto struggled beneath Kiba for a few moments, then realized that this was not oh no, this was oh, yes. Already a certain part of him was indulging in the warmth and friction it got from Kiba sitting on top of him. Fuck, Naruto thought, wincing. Kiba, get off. Okay, you win. Naruto was getting desperate now. It was getting very hard to control, especially with Kiba's face getting closer to his own. Wait. What is he? Why is he? Naruto's thoughts were ended as a warm, passionate mouth closed over top his. Oh, God, was all he could think as he eagerly kissed the lips back. Suddenly Kiba's hands let go of his and then moved to hold either side of his face. Kiba leaned in. Naruto felt lightheaded. What is it I need? Wait. I need air. Naruto frantically moved to the side of Kiba's mouth, took a breath, then dove back in Kiba's splendor. He tastes like bacon. Naruto wrapped a hand around Kiba's head, bringing the boy deeper into his mouth. His lips parted for Kiba's tongue to make its entrance. Already saliva drooled from the corners of their mouths. Kiba's tongue explored Naruto's mouth. Naruto whimpered around the appendage. Kami, please. Oh, God. Naruto let out a moan. It felt so good. His entire body felt on fire. Suddenly Kiba was at his neck. Naruto held Kiba close, his fingers burying into his fine hair. Suddenly Kiba must have realized what he was doing and scrambled away from Naruto. Naruto was confused. He looked at Kiba, who shook, a hand wiping drool from his mouth. Then Naruto noticed a very large tent in Kiba's pants. Naruto blushed fiercely as Kiba said something. You should, go before. Naruto for some reason felt very confident and very cool right then, or what? He said, scooting closer to Kiba, crawling on his hands and knees to where Kiba sat. Kiba glanced at him, then turned away. Stop it. Don't do that if you don't want me to. Naruto put both hands on Kiba's thighs right on either side of the base of the tent. Kiba groaned. Or what? Naruto said. You'll put it in me, he said, moving forward and licking Kiba's ear, and lightly placing his hand on the tip of it. Kiba groaned and trusted into his hand. Naruto let his tongue run across his bottom lip. He massaged the bulge with his hand. Kiba closed his eyes and trusted into his hand once more, then again and again, whimpering as he did. Naruto smirked. He then climbed into Kiba's lap. Kiba growled warningly, Naruto, don't tease, I'm serious, it's hard. Naruto giggled, what is wrong with me? Naruto thought for only a second before the confidence came back. I can know it's hard, I can feel it. Kiba moaned and trusted once up into Naruto. Naruto let out a squeal. Amazing. Naruto. I am serious. I am losing. Ga. Another thrust, control. Naruto smirked and attacked Kiba's lips. Kiba kissed back just as ferocious. Kiba started to slightly rock up and down, liking the friction he got from it. Naruto started moving his hips back and forth. Kiba growled in the kiss, then bit down on Naruto's neck and grabbed his hips. Naruto let out a gasp and a slight yelp as he felt Kiba's fangs sink into his neck. It wasn't hard enough to draw blood, but it still hurt. Naruto whimpered slightly. Kiba stopped moving, although he was quivering. He looked up at Naruto. His eyes had the look of predatory lust. But he stopped. Are you all right? We can stop. He then started to pant. No, it's fine. You just startled me, that's all, Naruto said. Then they latched onto each other's lips. They bit. They sucked. Their tongues lashed against each other. Moans erupted from them along with whimpers and groans. Kiba was both in heaven and hell at the same time. heaven because he was kissing and thrusting into his blonde, but hell because he was constantly trying to fight his urges to rip Naruto's clothes off. Okay, he did remove the jacket, but god, this was getting hot, and his pants were getting way too tight. Way too fucking tight. All that went through his mind was fucking. Ah, god. He roared in his head, I want it now. He flipped Naruto to the ground, and trusted into him like that. Naruto of course moaned his name. Not enough. I want to be inside. Kiba shook his head. I can't, too soon, but, oh. God, Naruto. He finally pulled himself away from Naruto's delectable lips and placed a hand between his bulge and the place where Naruto's opening would be if he didn't have clothes on, finally stopping the trusting by holding his very, very, very hot and hard member and started to stroke it through his pants. He moaned. Naruto sat up. What are you doing? He looked at him through one eye. See, controlling my urge, he said, but another moan escaped from him. Naruto sat in front of Kiba. Kiba right now was on his knees stroking vigorously at his member through his pants. Naruto rolled his eyes. He's never going to get it like that. So Naruto got to his knees next to Kiba and grabbed his hand. Kiba growled and moaned. Naruto held it while he used his other to unzip Kiba's pants, and that was the first time Naruto ever seen such a large and amazing part of a male anatomy pop out like that. A sigh came from Kiba. Naruto grinned and grabbed it, not too tightly and not too lightly either. Naruto started to stroke Kiba, who leaned and moaned into Naruto's shoulder. Naruto was almost flattened by his weight but held up against it. Kiba started to kiss and suck on Naruto while Naruto jerked him off. Suddenly Naruto felt his own member reach its capacity point in his pants. Kiba? He got a low, what T? Naruto grimaced. This was starting to hurt. Please do mine. Kiba kissed back in reply. Then Naruto felt his barn door open in a great relief. Then an even greater feeling as Kiba's big strong hands gripped his member. They stroked each other, grunting in approval to each other. Suddenly Kiba froze and started to break apart. Somebody's coming, he quietly whispered. Naruto quickly started to zip himself up and throw his coat on. Naruto wiped his hand that leaked of pre-cum and sweat on the grass. They sat somewhat embarrassed as 3 Junin walked by. They waved at them and Naruto and Kiba waved back. When they passed, Naruto looked at Kiba and Kiba looked at Naruto. After a few seconds of gazing into each other's eyes, Naruto said, "You want to go to my place and pick up some stuff?" He asked, grinning slightly. Kiba got the message and said, "Yeah, I would like to go and pick my stuff up." They left the training grounds at a dead run, remembering to pick their stuff up. Kiba whistled for Akamaru, who howled back in reply. They ran to Naruto's apartment. Instantly, right outside the door, Kiba attacked Naruto's back and shoulders, as he slightly trusted into Naruto's ass. While Naruto unlocked his door, they collapsed into the entry hall, peeling away their shoes and headbands. They split apart long enough for air and for Kiba to let Akamaru in. Kiba pointed to Naruto's coach. Akamaru obediently went to it and laid down. Then Kiba turned to Naruto and pinned him against the wall. Naruto groaned and winced in pain, but Kiba's lips made him forget about it. They attacked one another's bodies, and ripped at their clothing. Kiba removed his shirt and was bare-chested. Naruto shivered. God, his body is so amazing, he thought. Naruto latched onto one of Kiba's nipples, biting and sucking on it. Kiba whined and pulled at Naruto's shirt. Naruto lifted his arms. Kiba tore away Naruto's shirt, then flipped him around and pinned his front side to the wall. Kiba kissed and bit Naruto's shoulders, and his hands ran up and down Naruto's sides. Naruto arched back into him. Kiba bit at his neck. One of Kiba's legs moved forward and split Naruto's apart. Then Kiba lined his tent against the backside of Naruto. Naruto relished in the feeling he got as he felt the tip of Kiba's amazing member through the fabric of his pants. A chill ran down his spine, as Kiba gave a few practice thrusts into him. Moans erupted in the room. God, Naruto, Kiba said gruffly. I know, Naruto said. Kiba started to undo Naruto's pants. But Naruto caught his hands. Not here, in the bedroom. I want you to take me in the bedroom. Kiba twisted Naruto around and kissed him in a way Naruto had never felt. You're sure? He finally said after the amazing leave you weak at your knees and leave you stuttering kiss. Yeah, I want you, T2, take me. There. Kiba smirked once more and then hauled Naruto up over his shoulder, slapping his ass cheek. That ass is going to be mine. Kiba said gruffly. Naruto whimpered, "Oh, boy, what did I get myself into?" he thought, but Kiba gently placed him on his bed then stood on all fours over top of him. Kissing all the way from his forehead down his stomach, he paused there. "Naruto? You have a tattoo?" Naruto stiffened. "I actually forgot about my seal." Naruto gulped. "It's not a tattoo, Kiba, it's my seal, remember?" Kiba said, "Oh, yeah, I actually forgot. You're the Kyuubi host, that's kind of cool." Kiba kissed around his seal a couple times. "Hey Naruto." Kiba said, "W what?" Naruto asked, wishing Kiba would just take his damn pants off and take him. "The fox, here's everything you hear, right?" Naruto looked down at him. "Yeah," Kiba smirked. "And the fox basically is a part of you, right?" Naruto nodded. "In a way," Kiba grinned and flipped Naruto over. "Then I'm about to fuck the 9 tails up the ass as well as you," Kiba purred. Then Naruto felt his pants come off. Naruto got to his hands and knees and grabbed the pharmacy bag. "Use that," Naruto said, blushing. Kiba opened the bag and the lube fell out. "Wow Naruto, you were prepared, how sweet." Naruto looked back at Kiba. Kiba stood and pulled his pants and boxers off. Naruto wiggled his hips in impatience. "Hurry up Kiba," he moaned. Kiba then jumped onto the bed, opened the bottle and put some on his member. He shivered at the sudden coldness, and put some on 2 fingers, then stuck them into Naruto. Naruto jumped slightly at the sudden entry and coldness, but then Naruto started to thrust back into the fingers as they wiggled around in his warmth, preparing him for Kiba's very large member. Naruto's breathing hitched as Kiba started to do the scissoring motion. "Fuck, it hurts, but it also feels so good." Naruto moaned. "More, Kiba. More." Kiba added a 3rd finger and Naruto started to cry from both the pleasure and the pain. "You alright?" Kiba asked. Naruto nodded. Kiba started to thrust with the fingers. Naruto let out a loud low moan that built up into low-pitched screams. Naruto spread his legs wider. "I want more," he thought. Naruto reached down and stroked his member, which leaked with pre-cum. Kiba muttered on about how Naruto was so hot and tight. Suddenly Kiba took his fingers out. Naruto whimpered and looked back at Kiba, still stroking himself. "I'm sorry, but I need to go in right now. Your noises are driving me to the edge. I want to be inside when I come." Naruto nodded. Kiba split Naruto's cheeks and picked Naruto up slightly. Kiba then pushed himself into Naruto. Naruto gasped for air, as he felt little shocks of pain, but just before Naruto could say to take it out, the shocks of pain turned into shocks of pleasure. Naruto moaned and then slammed back full force down on Kiba's shaft. Kiba exclaimed, then growled in amusement. He pushed Naruto to the mattress and leaned over and said, "You're going to pay for that, Uzumaki?" Naruto wiggled his hips and said, "I hope I do." Kiba then trusted so hard and so deep into Naruto, Naruto felt as though he was entirely engulfed with Kiba's large hard cock. Kiba lightly brushed a part of Naruto that even Naruto never knew about. "What the hell? That felt amazing," he thought as Kiba brushed it again. This time Naruto saw a few stars. Kiba. "Keep aiming there," he yelled to Kiba, who grunted and aimed for where Naruto was talking about. Kiba hit it dead on. Naruto screamed. Kiba hit it once more. Naruto screamed again, even louder. "Yes. Kiba. Hit it harder, quickly." Kiba obliged to Naruto's commands. He liked how Naruto was screaming his name. Kiba reached around and started to stroke Naruto. Kiba trusted into the screaming blonde. He couldn't believe all that had happened. It was 100 times better than his dream. Naruto was so hot and tight. The way his body enveloped his member sent him closer and closer to the edge. Once he found Naruto's prostate, he wanted to get at it at a better angle. He also wanted to see Naruto's face when he came. So Kiba flipped Naruto over. Naruto wrapped his legs around Kiba's waist. His hands tore at his bed covers. He moaned continually. His eyes were half open, and when the blonde did open up his eyes, they were covered completely over with lust. "God, he is so cute," Kiba thought, looking down at him. Kiba leaned down and took Naruto's mouth captive once more. Loving the way Naruto instantly opened up for his tongue to once more start exploring the blonde's mouth. Surprisingly, the blonde tasted of a mix between ramen, go figure, and candy. It sent Kiba's taste buds wild. Kiba kissed down Naruto's neck, and for some reason a strong emotion of protectiveness came over him. "Naruto is mine, no one else can have him like this. No one." and with that he bit down on Naruto so hard it drew blood. Naruto of course screamed, but he also then had reached his climax, so he released himself all over their stomachs. Naruto's body spasmed beneath him and closed down with such an amazing force on his member that he came instantly. He surprised both of them by leaning his head back and howling while he came. His own body spasmed also, and an intense rush of adrenaline and pleasure seeped through his system. They stood staring at each other panting. Kiba sat back and pulled out of Naruto. Naruto gave a slight whimper. Kiba could only smirk. Kiba pulled out of him, and Naruto whimpered at the loss of such an amazing feeling inside of him. Kiba collapsed beside him. They stared at Naruto's ceiling, then Kiba turned to him. "Do you know what time it is?" Naruto looked at his bedside clock. Naruto looked again silently. He stared at it. "That can't be." Kiba looked over and gasped. "Kami. That's, wow, seriously? 10:30. If that's true, we did it for, like 3 hours, wow." Kiba and Naruto laid back down. "Well, I really don't want to go home this late, so I'm going to stay here," he said, grabbing Naruto and hugging him close. Naruto instantly swooned. "Okay," Naruto said, cuddling close to him. "Kiba." Naruto asked, "Why yeah?" Kiba answered back, "Tell me, why me? You could have stopped and left after I told you about the seal, I wouldn't have blamed you." Kiba turned his head and looked at Naruto, "And miss fucking your cute ass." "Hell no," he exclaimed, grinning. Naruto flushed. "Do you have to be so vulgar?" Kiba shrugged. "No, that was me joking. I kind of always wanted this, I just didn't know until now," he said, blushing. "How so?" Naruto asked him. Kiba after some time spoke. "Well, I guess it started after you beat me in the Chunin exams. I couldn't believe that a dropout beat me. After that I grew a certain respect for you. And then you went against Neji and surprised everyone by beating him as well." He paused, staring into Naruto's eyes. His finger delicately traced Naruto's lower lip. "After that you defeated or helped defeat Gaara. I was just mind-boggled, I couldn't think straight. You were always on my mind, so since then I spied on you. You made me a lot stronger. I never told you, heck I never told anyone, but my mother was already going to disown me." Naruto sat up. "Why?" "Because I treated Akamaru like a pet instead of a familiar. I flunked a lot of my classes. I wasn't acting like a Inazaka." Naruto only stared at him. "It got really worse when you defeated me. God, my mother was pissed. So when we went on the mission to retrieve." Kiba stopped and looked at Naruto. Naruto looked away sadly, almost hurt, like, "Damn it, the next time I meet Sasuke I'm going to kick his ass for making Naruto like this," he said to himself. Naruto shook his head and looked back at him. "It's okay, it doesn't bother me as much, I'll bring him back someday. Go on." Kiba stopped and looked at Naruto. "Naruto? Do you, well, like Sasuke, like this?" he said, motioning to their present state. Naruto let out stifled laughter. "Kami, no, he's just my friend. Well, more like a brother. I never had any dreams about him." Then Naruto blanched, realizing what he just said. Kiba grinned. "So you had a dream about me?" Naruto gulped. "Why yes," he said, blushing. Kiba laughed. "It's okay. I dreamed about you too," he said, hugging Naruto close to him. Naruto liked being close to Kiba like this. He cuddled into Kiba's chest. "Okay Kiba, finish your story." Kiba sighed. "Well, we went on that mission. And you know we all got separated. Well, in that battle against Sakin and Udon, I was so willing to die with Akamaru. I would rather die than go home looking like a failure." A tear fell down Kiba's cheek, "And I almost did. And poor Akamaru, if it wasn't for my sis." More tears rolled down his cheeks. Naruto leaned up and licked them up, then kissed Kiba's mouth softly. "It's okay. All of us have scars from that mission," Naruto said, taking Kiba's hand and putting it over the right side of his chest. "In fact, if I didn't have the Kyuubi sealed inside me, then we wouldn't have had this night together." Kiba sat up and looked close. There was a long, skinny, ragged scar about the size of a hand. "What happened?" Kiba asked. Naruto closed his eyes, then looked back into his. "Sasuke stabbed me through the chest with a Chidori." Kiba gulped. He couldn't believe Naruto had went through this pain and was still chasing after him. Kiba gritted his teeth. "Naruto, I don't want you to ever have this happen to you. I don't know what it is, but I don't want you to ever get hurt again, not by him. In fact, right now I want to kick his ass." Naruto chuckled. "Hey. I do too. It's just I promised to bring him back, for Sakura." Kiba looked at him. Did you specify how? Naruto looked confused at him. What do you mean? Kiba scratched his head, like dead or alive. He said, grinning. Naruto glared at him. He then jumped on Kiba, hitting him lightly with a pillow. Kiba finally caught it and sat up. They sat there staring into each other's eyes. Suddenly they both realized what was blooming in between them. It was not just a one-night stand, nor were they just friends with benefits. That small feeling of protectiveness for each other was turning into a raging deep inferno of a thing called love. They stared into each other's eyes for about 10 more seconds when Naruto finally stuttered out, "Hey Kiba, I think, I love you." Kiba gave Naruto his one-of-a-kind Inazaka smirk. "Good, because I do too." And with that said, they joined together, and this time they made love slow and passionately. Naruto woke up many hours later slightly sore, but more importantly hungry and thirsty. He climbed out of Kiba's sleeping arms and gave him a small smooch on the lips. He then put on a bathrobe and stepped outside, where he saw a large figure on the bed sit up and wag its tail. Naruto stopped. "Oh, Akamaru, do you want out?" Naruto asked, then realized he was talking to a dog. "But Kiba does, so I guess it's okay." Akamaru gave a small whine and went to the door. Naruto went and opened it for him. He blushed when he realized that most of their clothing was in the entryway. So he picked them up and threw them on a chair. Akamaru after a couple of minutes came back. Naruto let him in and closed the door. He looked down at the dog. "Sorry, but Kiba's a little tired right now, so I have to take care of you," he said, slightly smiling to himself. Akamaru looked at him and whined again. "I suppose he's hungry and thirsty too." So Naruto went into the kitchen and grabbed a bowl, a very large one, and filled it, then went to the fridge to see what he had. "Let's see," Naruto said, looking in his fridge. "Do dogs eat pizza?" he thought. He shrugged and pulled out the box of leftovers. He grabbed one piece and gave the rest to Akamaru, who dug in and ate it in a record time. Akamaru looked up at him. "You have to be, what is it?" "It's still hungry." He sighed and pulled out a bag of barbecue chips, and grabbed a pop for himself. Wait, Kiba might be hungry, and probably thirsty too, so he grabbed a pop and a box of ice cream and 2 spoons, then went back to the bedroom. Naruto sat on the bed. He was about to poke Kiba awake when he heard a crash in the kitchen. Naruto sat up and Kiba woke up also. Naruto sighed and went to the kitchen. He stared at the floor. It was completely covered in trash, and a large dog was trying to fit himself into the trash can to get at more food. Kiba came running in wearing only boxers. He looked at Akamaru, who whined and snuck under his table trying to hide. Naruto's heart instantly melted. Kiba was about to yell at Akamaru when Naruto stopped him. "It's all right. He's sorry, see? Don't yell at him," he said, pouting. Akamaru, noticing that Naruto had saved him from a beating, so he went to Naruto and licked his hands, then sat there panting. Kiba glared at Akamaru. "Traitor," he said, but then turned to Naruto. His eyes instantly softened. "Come on, we'll worry about it in the morning," he said, but then looked at the clock. "It's 3 o'clock. Damn, I have to get up at 6 to meet with my team, and by the time I go to sleep, I'll have to wake up." Naruto sauntered over to him, forgetting the trash. "Well, I know something that we could do to pass the time," he said seductively, then grinned. Kiba grinned, then picked him up and carried him to the bedroom, where they shared a box of ice cream, by licking it off each other, and then continued on into more intense lovemaking. It was 2 months after Naruto and Kiba had started their relationship that Naruto, Sakura, Kakashi, Sai, and Captain Yamato did their invasion on Orochimaru's underground compound, during which they came face to face with an old-time friend, enemy. A frenemy, yeah. The one by the name of Uchiha Sasuke. At first Sasuke seemed cold and distant and attacked right away, but Naruto gave him utterly shocking news that totally blew the stoic, proud Uchiha away. Orochimaru was using him. Who would have guessed? Not the ingenious, smart, top of his class, Sasuke Uchiha. No one could trick him. So when Sasuke questioned Orochimaru, who appeared out of nowhere at the time, he merely chuckled under his breath and looked at the Uchiha Sasuke for the first time in his life, and hopefully not the last, stared dumbly at Orochimaru, and finally after 2.5 years he realized what a dumb shit he was, to say the least. After which Sasuke went totally killer emo on Orochimaru and turned all his anger and powers on Orochimaru, who dumbly as a last-ditch effort tried to do the body transfer. It ended up utterly failing, so Naruto picked up Sasuke's fainted form, literally, and carried him back to Konoha where he repented for hours on end in front of a satisfied Tsunade, and slightly amused, who was going to let him back anyway. But she wasn't saying anything just yet. After 4 hours of kneeling on his knees, Tsunade let him off with this punishment. 1. A year of being an office helper. 2. After which only allowed to go on D-rank missions for another 6 months. And 3. House arrest during that time, unless the missions or something required of him needed him to go out of the village. Naruto was then promoted to Chunin, and thus Sasuke Uchiha was the last rookie 9 left as a genin. Sorry Sasuke, laughing face. Naruto and Kiba celebrated his promotion the only way they knew how, which was expressing their love for each other physically and quite passionately. Despite all odds, they have managed to keep their relationship secret. I guess no one notices why they are always together, have very interesting red spots on their necks, or the fact that sometimes Naruto limps and Kiba is tired on the same day. Not so very bright, are they? Okay, this was just slight filler. I needed Sasuke back, so I just made a quick story. In the not so best of my abilities, I will now continue on with the real parts of the story. Naruto woke up to the sound of a knock on his door. He got up yawning, stretching, and went to the door. Kiba came in, giving him a kiss on the cheek and carrying a box of various dog items and a bag of what looked to be clothing. He set the stuff on the couch and brought Naruto in for an even deeper smooch. Naruto kissed back and then split from him and cocked an eyebrow at Kiba's stuff. Kiba sighed. I'm going to crash here for a few days. Akamaru has to stay away from compound. The females are going into heat. Naruto looked at him and then to Akamaru. Why can't he be there? Naruto asked, confused. Kiba sat down. Well, you see, Akamaru is the familiar of an heir, which is me, or Hana. And since she's getting married soon, that means one of her dogs should sire some pups for her children. Akamaru is the son of Kuromaru. You see, the blood of our dogs is different from your average dogs. And we only like to breed then when there is a potential for another in the clan to be born. And since Akamaru is supposed to sire the pups for my children, Mom doesn't want to take the chance of Akamaru breeding yet. Naruto blinked a couple times, not fully understanding it. So, your mom's dog is the sire for your dogs. And your dog has to be the sire, or damn. I know I'm using horse terms, but I don't really want to swear, of your children's familiar? Kiba tilted his head thinking, then nodded. Yeah, pretty much. Naruto sat down next to Kiba, looking away sadly. So, Dot, are you going to have children? Naruto asked, fearing the answer. He didn't want Kiba to marry some girl he didn't really like just to please his clan. Just to have children, and it would hurt everyone. Kiba, the UN lucky girl, the children, and most of all his heart. Kiba looked at Naruto, then with certain seriousness he grabbed Naruto's chin, his gaze locked with his. Naruto, never think that. I would never sleep or do anything with anyone else. You are my one and only. No one else, besides, he said, leaning in and gave him a quick kiss, then he pulled back, smirking. We could adopt, it's technically an heir. Naruto was surprised for a moment, then nodded. Yeah, that could work. The next day Naruto had to go do a small solo mission. It wasn't hard or anything really, he just delivered some important papers to some rich lord. That was no big deal, but the fact was it was almost 100 degrees with a high humidity, and Naruto, contrary to what people believe, absolutely hated the heat. The only thing he liked hot was his ramen, his house in extremely cold temperatures, his bed, Kiba's body, Dot, and great, amazing, wonderful, hot. Naruto shook his head. Am I getting sunstroke? Can a teenager even get sunstroke? Naruto thought. He pushed the thought away and trudged home, wishing to be out of the stifling heat, and be in the heat of some good old hot. Naruto face-palmed himself. Stop. This is almost as bad as the first time. Naruto finally got to the village. He signed in and went home. He opened the door and there was his Kiba watching a little TV in nothing but his boxers. Kiba looked up at him. Hey, you're back. How did it go? Kiba asked, but then Naruto dropped his pack right in the doorway and jumped on Kiba. He latched on Kiba's surprised mouth. Kiba went blank for a couple of seconds. What the hell? Holy crap, Naruto is really horny. Jeesh. Just listen to the sounds he's making. Like a little slut. Akamaru in the corner whined at them. Kiba glanced while still lip-locked with Naruto, who now was stripping off his cloths quite fast. Kiba behind Naruto's back made the motion to go away. Akamaru huffed and went to the kitchen. All of a sudden Naruto, only clad in his boxers, was on his knees kissing down his stomach passionately, and he got lower and lower till he came to the rim of Kiba's boxers. Kiba's breath hitched as he felt Naruto's warmth near his throbbing member. Naruto suddenly brought them down with a quick violent tug, then proceeded to envelope Kiba's member with his mouth. Kiba snapped his head back and fisted Naruto's hair. Kami. He thought, Naruto is very, very talented. Already he felt like coming, but then Naruto's mouth came off his member and Kiba actually whimpered, but then Naruto sat in his lap, and without warning trusted down on Kiba's member, filling himself up all the way to the hilt. Kiba exclaimed he knew it had to have hurt Naruto doing that. But Naruto wasn't even fazed. Instead he quickly set up a breakneck pace of trusting up and down on his member. Kiba could barely contain himself, it was so fast and so hot, he could barely catch his breath. Naruto arched his back up and moaned. Kiba, gah, fuck, yes. Fuck me like the bitch I am. Kiba would have blushed red if it wasn't for the fact that those words made his inner emotion come out. With a great growl and force he flipped Naruto over, then trusted into Naruto as fast and as hard as he could. He was a completely different person, they both were. They fucked fast and hard till they both came. Then 5 minutes later they were at it again. Only this time on the floor. They switched positions several times. Sometimes in the matter of seconds it was like neither could get enough of the other. Kiba in the back of his mind thought to stop, knowing Naruto might be hurting, but that thought was completely ignored when Naruto started to moan low and loud, and he simply said, yes, yes Kiba, oh Kami. Kiba then was pushed over the edge once more and came inside Naruto, filling him to the brim. Sasuke stood next to Tsunade's desk waiting for the next order. She would yell at him, then he would go and do that, and by the time he got back she would be digging into her secret stash of sake or sleeping. It irritated Sasuke to no end. Sometimes he wished Orochimaru had taken over his body, that way he wouldn't have to live through this hell. Suddenly the door opened and Shizune came running in with that panicked expression she always wore. Lady Tsunade. Tsunade of course ignored her mostly. Shizune came running up throwing a scroll at her. By the looks of the scroll Sasuke could tell it was a very important scroll belonging to very rich person. The seal, the paper, everything about it screamed money. Tsunade opened it and read. She then stiffened and stood. Sasuke, she yelled. We're putting together a team. Go get Naruto, at once. Sasuke nodded and went. Sasuke ran all the way to Naruto's apartment. He had the top floor and was the only person. In fact, he had the only door on the entire level. Sasuke was about to knock when he heard very strange noises. He leaned in and listened closer. There were screams and what sounded like a struggle or some sort of fight. Sasuke opened the door. He stood in utter dismay and confusion. It was Naruto and Kiba, and they were having on the floor. Sasuke blushed crimson out of the fact of seeing his two teammates being so intimate, and Kiba, well true to his nature, was very possessive and animalistic also. He was constantly biting and growling, and licking, and oh my god, my poor eyes. Sasuke screamed in his head. Sasuke backed out of the doorframe and shut the door. He leaned against the wall trying to clear his head. So Naruto and Kiba, I never would have guessed. I thought they were just friends, and I would have never thought Kiba gay. Naruto, he sorta acts a little, oh my god. What the hell is wrong with Naruto? He thought, listening to once more as Naruto screamed and let out in a loud voice, yes. Kiba, more, harder and faster. Sasuke blanched, then hung his head in his hands, and I can't leave until I get Naruto, so I am officially screwed. Just then he heard a scream so loud he thought Kiba was killing Naruto, then he heard a long howl. And then silence, which he was very grateful of. A few minutes ticked by and suddenly Naruto's door opened. Sasuke stood but then almost got run over by a large white dog almost horse size. Naruto stood only wearing pants, and his entire torso was covered in hickeys and bite marks. Naruto blushed and stared at him. Ah, Tsunade wants, you? He said, looking away. Naruto looked down at himself. Oh, shit, Naruto said and quickly closed the door. He heard the sound of a person dressing quickly and then the sound of two voices speaking hushly. He vaguely heard the sound of someone say, I love you. But he must have been mistaken. Akamaru came up from doing his business and sat and looked up at him, his tongue hanging from his mouth. Sasuke knew that Kuromaru, the familiar of Kiba's mother, could talk, so that must mean that Kiba's dog could understand what he said, maybe, unless he was going crazy along with everyone else in Konoha. He looked at Akamaru, then tentatively said, hi. The dog looked at him then barked. Ah, okay. Sasuke said, now really knowing what to do. Just then he heard a loud gruff voice yell, That Sasuke bastard is outside. Let me at him, I've wanted to kill him for the longest time. Suddenly the door slammed open with an enraged Kiba wearing only pants also. He towered above Sasuke, who shrunk back at the amount of hatred coming off of him. Naruto came in between them. Kiba's eyes instantly softened. Kiba. You can't kill him. Kiba snorted, and why not? Because then you'll go to jail, and I don't want that. Naruto answered. Sasuke felt very unsure about himself because the only reason for Kiba not to kill him was because he would go to jail. That was it. No, he's my friend, or anything. Naruto, how can you say that after what he did to you? Naruto looked at Sasuke sadly. I know Sasuke did some terrible stuff, Kiba. And I know how you feel, Kiba. I know you want to hurt him after what you saw he did. But I'm telling you, Kiba, Sasuke has changed. He's still my friend. Kiba looked at Naruto, then back to Sasuke. He bit his lip, trying to decide what to do. Come on, Inu-kun. Time for you to forget. Go to bed. You need the rest, Naruto said, kissing his cheek. Kiba rolled his eyes but kissed Naruto back and said, I love you. Naruto smirked and grabbed either side of his face. IWUV in a cute-like voice. Then they gave each other an Eskimo kiss and parted. Sasuke didn't say anything. He silently turned and started to head back to the tower. Naruto caught up to him. Sasuke tried to ignore the blonde's limping. Sasuke finally said. So? Naruto said back. Neither of them looked at each other. You and Kiba? Naruto said, yep. When did that happen? When I got back. How? Just happened. Do you really love each other? Naruto grabbed him by the collar and dragged him close. Sasuke had to admit Naruto could look scary when he wanted. What does that mean? Of course we do. Then Naruto let him go and looked off into the distance. You wouldn't really understand, but Kiba and I in a way were the same. His mother always told him he was not good enough, just like many of the villagers told me. He slacked off in class like me, but like me he's really passionate and very caring. He may be rough around the edges and little hot-headed at times, but no matter what he always makes me smile. Naruto then made a smile Sasuke had never seen before. It wasn't his big corny one. It was soft, barely more than a smirk, but it showed pure happiness radiating from it. Kiba and me were always good friends in the beginning, but when that mission came to chase after you, Naruto said, turning to him, a dark shadow falling over his face. Kiba almost paid with his life. But contrary to what people believe, he didn't survive and get stronger for his clan. It was actually for me, Naruto said, his eyes going soft again. Then after, when we were both at the critical care unit in the hospital, he saw what happened to me, and how I was in so much pain, both physically and mentally. Sasuke visibly flinched when Naruto put a hand to his chest. He wanted to get stronger so that I would never have to get hurt again. He's actually had a crush on me for the longest time. He just hides it by acting like he didn't care, but now that I have gotten to know him, I can read through everything. He really is kind and caring, not the macho mutt everyone wants him to think. Sasuke said, HN, and what about you? Once again that heavenly smile. It's the same for me too, only I being the dead last I am. Didn't figure out my feelings till after I came back from training. Sasuke sighed. I'm sorry for what I did to you guys, none of you deserved it. And I don't deserve any of this kindness either. Naruto rolled his eyes. Sasuke, if you didn't do what you did, me and Kiba might not have gotten together. So I should thank you, and that is what friends are for. Oh, and I'll try and talk Kiba around to it. Don't get me wrong, when he wants to he can be even meaner and stronger than the Hokage. Especially when it comes to me, Naruto said, turning. He's a little possessive, but very loyal, and sometimes naughty. Basically an overgrown puppy, Naruto said, limping away. Sasuke stood staring after Naruto, stronger and meaner than the Hokage. Sasuke instantly thought worriedly, Naruto? Sasuke said, catching up to him. Yeah, said Naruto. You do know you're limping, right? From the corner of his eyes he could see the blonde instantly turned tomato red. Thank you Sasuke for telling me that, he said, a little irritated, and jumped up and dashed along the rooftops to the Hokage tower. Whoops, probably shouldn't have said that. Then the thought of Naruto going to Kiba and telling what he said made him stop dead in his tracks and paled to a ghostly white. Shit. I don't want to die. ! Sasuke called after him, jumping up after him. When they arrived at the Hokage tower, Tsunade sat at her desk. Teams 8, except for Kiba, 7 and 9 stood in the office. Kakashi and Jiraiya will be the leaders since Guy and Kurenai sensei are both unavailable. What has HAPPNED to Guy-sensei? Has the power of youth abandoned him? Yelled out a worried Lee. Tsunade had a slight anger mark. In a context, Guy has injured himself and is not able to go on missions for a while. Lee started to cry while 1010 regrettably comforted him. Sakura face-palmed herself. Everyone knew Lee and her started to go out not too long ago. Oh good Sasu-kun, my favorite errand boy, you're back. She crooned. Sasuke visibly shivered as people tried to hold back laughter. I need you to go fetch Kiba, okay? Sasuke gulped then got irate. What? You mean I traveled all the way to get Naruto, then come all the way back and you want me to go all the way back again, just to get Kiba? He said, snorting like a bull. Tsunade smiled. Yes, is there a problem? Sasuke blanched then got a weird look in his eyes. Oh, no, the entire village is going crazy, might as well go crazy with it. Ha 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 ha, he said with a weird smile on his face. Then glared at Tsunade. Ow Sasu-kun, you're going all emo on me again. I might have to bring out Mystery Motion doll. Instantly Sasuke was on his knees. No. Not the doll. Keep it away, I beg you. Oh great and wise Hokage. Tsunade grinned. So will you go get Kiba now? Sasuke looked like he was being squeezed by two constrictors. He said nothing. Sasuke, if you're that afraid of Kiba I will go with you. Said Naruto. Sasuke shot up. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep him from killing me. Then they left. Everyone looked at Lady Tsunade. Kakashi finally said, what did you do to that boy? Lady Tsunade grinned evilly. Only stuff that he deserved for hurting my godson. Everyone in the room then became frightened of the amount of killer intent leaking from the Hokage aura. Naruto and Sasuke ran all the way back to Naruto's apartment. Naruto walked in. Kiba. He shouted. Kiba came out yawning. What? Come on, we have to go on a mission, together. Kiba smirked. All right. Hey, at least the weather finally cooled off. Naruto nodded. Well, come on, from the looks of it. It looks like an important mission, Kiba said. Woot. Woot. And went off gathering his stuff. Naruto and Sasuke stood there in silence besides the occasional shout of where something was that Kiba couldn't find. When Kiba was all set, they went off. Naruto locked his door, and Kiba was joined by Akamaru. Kiba jumped on Akamaru. Naruto rolled his eyes. Kiba saw it then got an evil grin on his face. He grabbed Naruto and sat him in front of him, then he whistled and Akamaru was off with a laughing brunette and a screaming profanity blonde. Sasuke ran after them. Soon everyone was present in the Hokage's office. Tsunade nodded. Good, everyone is here. Okay, this is a very important mission. I mean in SS rank. It is only this class because we are dealing with something of the fire daimyos, a sacred jewel. Every 20 years it is transferred between countries as a symbol of peace and prosperity. It usually resides in the capital of that country. It is time for us to return it to the daimyo and he will transfer it through a sacred ceremony. Why can't he just come and get it? Said Sakura. Because it must be delivered by the country's people, in hopes that the people's goodness and faith are transferred to the next country's people and they will become allies. Why so many people? Said Naruto. Because this is also a very rare blue diamond the size of a fist set inside a beaded necklace made up of onyx, gold, sliver, and mother of pearl. Along with that, every bead has some at least one ruby, sapphire, or emerald, all of the highest caliber set into it also. It is called the Jewel of the Dragon King, for it is believed to be a gift from the dragons to humans. So thus it is very valuable and very rare. And people who do know about this will have very highly trained people to come after it, so that is why I am sending all of you, 2 Bakugan wielders, a Toad Sage, an apprentice Toad Sage and double element user, she said looking to Naruto, a Sharingan, a weapons master, a excellent medic Kunoichi with great power, and a broom, and an Inazaka, the most ferocious people in battle that I know of. Naruto in his head also said, and the most ferocious in bed too, and smirked at Kiba. We also have a taijutsu master and an ink artist trained by the Anbu, she said motioning to Sai and Lee. I feel confident enough. We have kept the Dragon Jewel's location top secret and have sent out different teams in different directions looking as though they could have the jewel. Plus I am hoping that you won't have to deal with anything, but you never can be too prepared. Everyone stood stock still. Jiraiya, come with me, you will carry the jewel. Tsunade brought out a red sealed scroll. This scroll is special. Even if a person gets their hands on it, they simply can't just open it and summon the jewel. Inside the scroll is also the dragon tester. He is a summoning dragon of immense wisdom, over 10,000 years old. To get to the jewel you must answer his 3 questions. The answer to the questions is given and sealed in blood. So people of the Yamanaka clan couldn't even figure it out. The answers to the questions are given to the next guardians. If the people get even one question wrong, their soul will be sucked from them and kept within the dragon's pouch, never being able to break free and move on to heaven or hell. The true seriousness of the mission fell over the room. It was utter silence. Jiraiya picked the scroll up and took his own large scroll off his back, surprising everyone it was a fake one. As he opened the tube part in the middle using an intricate code, he slid the blood-red scroll carefully into the tube, then snapped it shut and locked it again. Jiraiya swung the scroll over his back, then nodded. Everyone moved out. Naruto hung at the outside of the door. As everyone filed through, Naruto waited for Kiba. When Kiba came out, he noticed Naruto. He stepped to the side to let the last of the people out. "So what do you think?" said Naruto. "Sounds pretty edgy mission. I mean, we could go the entire time and not get attacked once, or we could be getting hammered constantly." Naruto sighed. "Well, from the sounds of it, they have the enemy pretty confused. First off, not a lot of people know of it, which is good. I mean, I never knew anything about it, and we have teams scattering different trails, trying to confuse the enemy, like a big confused pack of hounds." Kiba raised an eyebrow to the comment. "No offense, but you know they keep crossing trails and doubling back. Confusing them, they might get so frustrated that they might think they let it slip up long time ago, or they wasted too much time and think it's already in safety." Kiba nodded. "Sounds about right." But he looked down at Naruto. "But you be careful, got it?" Naruto frowned at him. "Hey, you be careful. In the heat of battle you take unnecessary risks." Kiba smirked. "Really, I thought that's what you do." Naruto fumed. Kiba was right. If we could make it look like we don't have the jewel. You know, act all mad about not doing anything when we could be at home. Maybe drop a few hints on who could have the jewel. Maybe they would leave us alone. Kiba wondered in amazement at how Naruto had actually thought this up. "Come on, we should tell Kakashi or Jiraiya your actually smart idea." Naruto was about to yell at him, but Kiba gave him a quick kiss, then scurried away after everyone else. "So what do you think?" asked Kiba after he told everyone Naruto's idea. They stood at the main gate. "Well, it would be good. But some innocent team might get hurt or worse, because the thieves think that they have it," Naruto then said. "But what if we talk about people who aren't out on a mission? Like we could say Guy Sensei and Kurenai Sensei, a master genjutsu and taijutsu user, have it. A team of 2. We'll talk about acting hush-hush on how the idea is perfect. No enemy would be able to find them, or if they did, wouldn't attack them. They are just a team of 2. It would be a perfect cover-up. They would be looking for a team that doesn't even exist." Everyone was completely astounded, even Jiraiya and Naruto. "That is probably the only and greatest idea you ever had," said a shocked Kakashi. Naruto smirked. "Thank you." Then realized what Kakashi had just said and was about to yell at Kakashi, but Kiba stopped him. "Still, even if they did fall for it and started to look for them, wouldn't they start to second guess when they're not finding any hints of a team of 2 anywhere?" Naruto gave his "I have another idea" grin. "That where my clones come in." Instantly 2 clones, exact replicas of Might Guy and Kurenai Sensei, appeared, both dressed and looking ready for a mission. "Wow, they look almost real," said Neji. The Guy clone snapped towards Neji. "Why are you saying, almost real? Behold." It suddenly yelled, posing on Guy's summoning tortoise, another of Naruto's clones. "I am Might Guy." Kona, his noble blue beast, then gave his power of youth smile and thumbs up. "Lee, the power of youth is strong within you." Lee instantly said, "Yosh. Yes, Guy Sensei." Then Kurenai Sensei clone crossed her arms and rolled her eyes and muttered, "Idiots," under her breath. Everyone looked at Naruto, who smirked. "What can I say other than I is awesome?" Kakashi turned to Jiraiya. "What so you think?" He only grinned and nodded. "Anything helps. Plus I don't see why not, as long as you can make your clones last." Naruto grinned. "That's the other part of my plan. I'll have them go for a while making slight mistakes, then have them do absolutely nothing to leave any traces behind, and have them lead in the same direction as the daimyo, but on a whole different route than us. I figure if we can lead the enemy into the Canyon of Tears, I'll have the clones last another day, then cancel them. By the time they realize they were clones and backtrack, we would already be at the daimyo summer palace." Once again everyone was in complete dismay over how Naruto the one who couldn't even make a proper replica of the third Hokage in class, was able to create two perfect replicas, voice and personality of people he hardly knew. They could only shake their head and wonder as they and the clones split and went their separate ways. The group traveled until dusk. For even extra precaution, the group traveled in a semi-circle around Kakashi with Jiraiya in the front, hoping to detour any enemies, if there are any, away from Jiraiya and attack the figure that everybody seemed to flank and protect. Naruto and his clones kept in touch by sending back information to keep him notified of what was happening. So far so good. It would take about 2 weeks to get to the Summer Palace and back, so everyone was packed with enough victuals to last that long at more. Kakashi then found a nice, quite secluded place for them to camp. They were protected and hidden by a great rock alcove. Naruto sighed and flopped against the wall facing everyone. For some reason he felt really tired, he didn't know why. Usually he could last a month with only 2 clones. He closed his eyes to rest them for a moment, then all of a sudden he felt himself being shaken awake by Sakura. "Naruto, it's time to eat. Are you okay? You look a little pale." Naruto groggily came back to his senses. He was about to stand up when Sakura pushed a plate in his hands. It was a simple dish of rice with pork. Naruto, who was famished, swiftly gulped it down. Naruto then started to roll out his sleeping bag. He tiredly dragged himself into the bag, then fell asleep before his head even hit the pillow. After 3 more days of traveling, and playing their small game of trying to trick the enemies, they had traveled without any trouble. Well, besides the fact that Naruto was exhausted every night, so he would set his bag out, sleep until supper, eat whatever he could, then fall back to sleep. He barely got to talk to Kiba except a few spare times when they had a lunch break or something. That morning Naruto awoke feeling refreshed. He got up while yawning and stretched. Hinata was tending the fire. He was about to go over and talk to her when he felt a wave of nausea pass over him. He quickly ran to the trees and started puking his guts up. Hinata heard the commotion and ran over to him. She stood by worriedly. Naruto got up, wiping his mouth. "And Naruto? Are you okay? Maybe you shouldn't keep your clones out this long." Naruto leaned against the tree, slightly shaking. He didn't want to tell her, but he had never, and he meant never, puked before in his life. The 9 tails had kept him safe from all sicknesses. Sakura came over next. "What's wrong?" She looked at Naruto. "Nothing, just got a little sick, that's all," he said, giving a smile. He didn't feel sick. Really, after the puking he felt fine, just a little surprised. Now he was perfectly okay. In fact, he felt really hungry. He quickly rinsed his mouth out while Sakura finished breakfast, then went to find Kiba, who had went to walk Akamaru. Naruto saw him and walked over to him. "Hey," Kiba said. "Hey," Naruto said back. "Sorry, I have been so out of it. I guess the clones for some reason are taking a lot out of me." Kiba, who of course was actually very caring and kind, instantly looked worried at him. Naruto smirked. "It's okay. I'm fine, I'll manage. You just might have to go without for a bit." Instantly Kiba looked hurt. Naruto laughed. "Don't worry, I am sure you'll manage." Then Kiba grinned and looked at him. "Well, you're awake now." Then he grabbed the blonde by the waist and dragged him into a patch of secluded trees. Kiba was instantly at his neck. His hands had already found Naruto's zipper and brought it down. Naruto gasped at the double assault. Naruto leaned his head up and wrapped his arms around Kiba's neck, playing with his hair. Kiba then surprised him by twisting him around and slamming him into the tree behind him. Naruto braced himself against the tree as Kiba quickly moved Naruto's pants to the side, not dropping them, but giving him enough space to insert his already hard member into Naruto without warning. Naruto luckily caught his scream before he let it out. He clapped one hand to his mouth to stop him from making noises as they, quietly as possible, mated in the trees. After almost 3 minutes, Naruto was to his breaking point. The fact that he hadn't done it in 3 days, and the fact that they might get caught, increased the pleasure. Also, the fact that they were doing it in the woods also added onto it. Kiba did a few more quick erratic thrusts and Naruto released himself, with a silent cry. Kiba thrusted into Naruto a few more times while the blonde rode his orgasm. Kiba quickly came also. They panted for a few moments, then Kiba withdrew. Naruto as always whined. No matter how many times they did it, Kiba couldn't help but smirk when Naruto did that. It was just so ironic and funny. Kiba and Naruto quickly cleaned each other off, then kissed once more, and then finally broke apart. They walked back to camp, keeping a certain distance from each other. Naruto made sure to walk normal even though it was slightly painful. They ate breakfast and continued on. By the end of the day Naruto was tired but decided to sit with the others for supper. Naruto ended up sitting next to Kiba on a log, and Sakura and Lee sat next to each other. Neji and Tenten, who have been going out since before Naruto even came back. Sai sat next to them sketching something in the dirt with a stick, and Shino and Hinata sat next to each other. Jiraiya and Kakashi sat on opposite ends of the fire. Somehow the conversation got turned to dating and boyfriends, and a stuff Naruto had mostly dazed out of it, when Hinata suddenly called his name, Naruto. I just remembered, Ino wanted to know if you would date one of her cousins. She's not ugly or anything, but she likes you, Ino said. Naruto blinked a couple times. Huh? No, I can't? Hinata looked a little downcast. Why not? Naruto stretched, because I'm already going out with somebody. Kiba to the side of looked at him from the corner of the eye. Naruto shrugged, which meant, might as well tell them now. Kiba sighed but waited to see what Naruto said next. Of course the girl around the circle started yelling questions. Who? Cried Sakura suddenly. Naruto felt very scared. Well, see. I'm going out with. He was cut of cause right then. Kiba and just rolled his eyes and dragged Naruto to him, then kissed him right then and there. Naruto was surprised at first, but then he melted in the heat of Kiba's kiss. Then Kiba broke apart and said, "Me, got it." Everyone, besides Jiraiya who knew Naruto was gay, was shocked. They stared. Naruto looked like he just came out of a daze, then blinked a couple times, then looked at Kiba. That was how you were going to tell them? By kissing me in front of them? Kiba just looked at him. Well, you choked. Naruto was unable to form any words. Just look at Kiba. Then he muttered, "I did not choke, said Kiba smiling. Naruto looked at him, then looked away. Not, peeved. Then he started laughing, and then said, "OMG, that was terrible. I was like, well, you, me, see, go, with, me. God, that sucked." Kiba rolled his eyes. Everyone by that time had gotten over the first initial shock. "So, when did you guys go out?" They looked at each other, then Naruto blushed crimson. "The day after I got back," he said, keeping his eyes as far away from Jiraiya as possible. "And you have managed to keep it secret this long," exclaimed Hinata. "Yeah, I was wondering when you people would notice that Naruto is limping and I'm tired on the same day. But none of you put two and two together, or the fact that I'm constantly over at his place." Naruto face-palmed himself so hard that some of them even winced. "Don't tell them that," Naruto yelled, glaring at Kiba. Naruto was blushing a red that even Hinata would have to work it to get. Jiraiya on the other side of the fire was laughing so hard he was crying. Naruto glared at Kiba and Jiraiya. Kiba just gave him his smirk and Naruto sighed, his anger and everything gone. Then Kiba kissed him and patted his head, saying, "Love you," in a semi-cute voice. Naruto huffed. "Yeah, I know, now shut up about that stuff. They don't need to know our lives." Then Naruto sat up, covering both hands over his mouth, embarrassed at what he just said. Jiraiya couldn't contain it anymore. No more, too funny," he said in between side-wrenching laughs. "Okay, let's just talk about something else." Just then Naruto yawned. "Nah. I'm beat. Having clones all day is tiring me out." Kiba grinned. "That not all that tired you out," he said, chuckling evilly. Naruto rolled his eyes. "Shut up." Kiba gave him the puppy dog eyes. Naruto visibly softened. "Erg. Must you do that? Fine, good night," he said, leaning down and kissing Kiba, then stood back up and went to his sleeping bag. Jiraiya then started to scoot in closer to Kiba, saying, "Sue, I always wanted to know how Naruto was, he being my godson and all. What's he like?" Jiraiya questioned, and just then a kunai came in flying from Naruto's direction, burying itself a hair's width away from a certain part of the old man. Jiraiya gulped, then they heard and slightly angry Naruto yell out, "If you ever want anything again, Kiba, I swear you keep your trap shut." Everyone giggled as Kiba blanched white. Kakashi finally said something. "Okay. Right now, two of your teammates have reveled something that most people frown on. I need to know right now if anyone has a problem with Naruto and Kiba's relationship." He studied everyone around the fire. They all looked at each other, then all of them nodded. "No," Kakashi smiled with his eye. "Good. No, let's do this mission, so everyone good night." They all then went to their sleeping bags. Kiba grabbed his and moved it next to Naruto's sleeping form. Akamaru followed him and curled next to Naruto. Kiba got in his bag and zipped it up. Naruto then rolled over and buried his head in Kiba's shoulder and both ninja fell asleep like that. In the morning Naruto woke up sleeping on Kiba's shoulder and arm across his chest, while Kiba had an arm thrown around him and another tossed above his head. Akamaru was stretched out across both of them. Naruto sighed and worked his legs from beneath Akamaru. The big dog sighed and rolled over onto Kiba, effectively waking him up. Naruto sat up and once again he felt like he was going to be sick. He quickly got out of his sleeping bag and ran to the bushes. Once he was done with that, once again he felt fine. Kiba was worried. "Hey, are you okay?" Kiba said, placing a hand on his forehead, feeling for a temperature. "I'm fine," Naruto said, trying to fight Kiba off. Jiraiya came up to him. "You're sure right? Maybe you should stop with the clones. We're only 2 days away from the summer palace. I'm sure we won't run into trouble. Stop overexerting yourself." He shook his head, but then he felt woozy again. He fell into Kiba, who caught him. Sakura shook her head. "That's it, Naruto, for your health you need to let the clones go." Naruto sighed, then nodded. He then put his hands in the signs and was about to release them when he closed his eyes just to see what they saw. They were surrounded, and backed into a rock wall. Naruto gasped in surprise. There was about 8 of them. All of them wore dark blue capes, and each had masks with a symbol on the forehead. 3 he could tell were female, and from what he could tell they were highly skilled. The leader, from what he could tell, was highly dangerous. He had on one arm a large clawed glove, and he spoke in a cold voice. He motioned to his guy clone. "Give us the jewel." The guy clone of course said no. "Give it to us and we will spare your lives," said a woman from the right. "Never, it was not meant for you, bitch," yelled Kurenai sensei. The female lunged at her, but 2 of the men held her off. "Stop, Mizumoto," yelled the leader. He then looked back at him. "I will give you one last chance," he said, holding one blade up on his gloved hand. "Give it to us." Just then the Kurenai clone yelled out, "Who are you?" The MNA paused, then said, "I am Suyoi Raida, and I have come for the jewel of the Dragon King. Now give it to me." Kurenai sensei yelled back, "Over our dead bodies." Then all 8 of them moved in, and that was the last of the information he got from the clones. He reawakened back in his body. Kiba still held him. Jiraiya frowned at him. "What did you see?" Naruto slumped to the ground. Kiba kneeled down next to him. Naruto looked up. 8 people, all dressed in blue capes, 3 female, and their leader is Suyoi Raida. He had a gloved hand with daggers on it, like claws. Their power levels varied. One female was young and had a hot head. Most of them were Chunin level or Junin. The leader, he was special Junin or Enbo at best. They're looking for the jewel. They must have watched us and fell for our trap. Now they will be looking for us. Naruto said. He rested his head against Kiba's knee, closing his eyes. Then his stomach growled. "I'm starving, that took a lot out of me." Sakura, despite the situation, giggled, which lightened the mood and everyone smirked, but then it returned to seriousness. "Okay, I want everyone to be on their guard. Neji, Hinata, don't activate your eyes till after you start moving. We will continue to surround me, in hope to trick them. Kiba, have Akamaru keep a lookout as we eat breakfast." Naruto looked up. "Nice work, but are you okay?" Naruto nodded. "Yeah, just need some food and I'm always better." Kakashi nodded. Kiba helped Naruto up, then went to Akamaru. "I'm going to stand guard with Akamaru now. You going to be okay?" Naruto nodded, then walked over to the fire and scarfed some food. Hinata was with him. "Well, it's good you don't have to keep your clones up. Now you won't be getting sick in the morning." Naruto nodded. "Yeah, that's a relief." They packed up and left. They moved at a steady pace, trying to hide their trail, or at least left a few traps to slow them down. Jiraiya calculated that they would be at least a day behind, so if they kept going and not stopping for breaks they could hopefully beat them and deliver the scroll to the palace. Naruto was able to keep up, but when afternoon came he felt tired and he had a pain in his side. It wasn't any breathing pains, it was just a pain. He stopped and leaned against a tree. He felt sick once more. He went to his knees and started to puke. Kakashi quickly called a halt and Sakura ran over with a bag catching the vomit so it wouldn't leave any clues behind. Naruto stopped, and just as suddenly as it had came over him it vanished. Naruto shook his head and rose, wiping his mouth. Sakura gave him a few pills to settle his stomach. She was going to give him a solider pill, but something about it screamed at him that it was dangerous and that he shouldn't take it for some reason, so he said no. Sakura shrugged and put it away. They continued on until they couldn't see. By that time Naruto, Hinata, and Neji were exhausted from chakra depletion. They quickly ate and fell asleep. The rest then set up who would be on the watches, Kiba and Akamaru first, then Lee, Kakashi, and then Jiraiya, all having 4-hour watches. Naruto fell asleep instantly after eating. The next morning he awoke again and soon found himself sick in the bushes once more. Hinata was the one to find him. How are you sick? You got rid of the clones? Naruto shrugged. Maybe I should ask the Nine Tails. I need to meditate, so could you stay and watch over my body? Hinata nodded, then sat next to him. Naruto closed his eyes and found himself outside the fox's cage. Naruto went up to it and banged on one of the bars. He heard the muttering of the Kyuubi, then two big large eyes appeared. At first they looked at him angrily, then they softened, then they got bright again in humor. So what's on your mind, my kid? He said. Ever since Naruto left he had started working with the Nine Tails, trying to get him at least slightly more nicer, and in a way he was. Why have I been getting sick? The Kyuubi looked at him then started to laugh. What's so funny? Naruto yelled. The Kyuubi finally calmed down. You see Kit, in demonkind when it comes to breeding, we go all out. We want to make sure that our kind survives, so over the years, we evolved so both s have both parts, but for males to get pregnant, 1 they have to mate with another male, and 2 they have to mate while in heat, which you did about a week ago. Naruto only stared. What? Kyuubi face palmed himself. You're pregnant. Kyuubi finally yelled out. Naruto slumped down. He couldn't believe it, not even him. Naruto Uzumaki could believe it, but then a sudden feeling of happiness overwhelmed him. I am going to be a mom. He shouted with a sudden newfound strength. He slipped through the bars and hugged the Nine Tails, giddy with excitement. The Nine Tails was surprised by this but purred in amusement. Come on Kit, back up there, go share the news. Naruto stepped back and with a sincere smile he said, you really are good, Kyuubi, you're not a monster as everyone says. The nine-tailed fox watched as Naruto left. In a way he had never been stunned so much. Suddenly he felt a wetness in his eyes. He was crying. The nine-tailed fox was actually crying. Naruto, you really are something else. But never hug me like that again or I will kill you. Like I said, Kyuubi was kind, in his own way. Naruto came back, and turned to Hinata who was yawning. She was surprised by the sudden movement. And Naruto, you're back, so what's wrong with you? Naruto smiled. Nothing's wrong Hinata, because I'm pregnant, he said, hugging her. Hinata was shocked and confused, but then Naruto explained what the Nine Tails had said. Then Hinata finally hugged Naruto, but she stepped back. But what are you going to tell Kiba? And how? If you tell everyone now, people won't know what to think and it might mess up the mission. Naruto nodded. Yeah. Maybe I'll tell everyone after the mission. Suyoi Raito was angry. First off, they had been led on a wild goose chase over who had the sacred jewel. And then when they found the people who were believed to have it, they ended up being clones. So when they went after the only other group that could have had the jewel, they had somehow found out and had laid traps behind for them. So no, they had to travel even slower to make sure none of them would get hurt again. His chances were not good. 2 of his men had gotten hurt in the explosions, but they were able to keep going. But he needed all of his men to be at their top for him to be able to attack the group of 12. He concluded that if they narrowed down who had the jewel and struck fast and hard, they would be able to get it then. He gritted his teeth and looked over at Kuiku, the one who had gotten grazed by the fire from the explosion. He winced as he checked beneath his bandages. Raito clenched his fists. Once they got that damn jewel they would be free men, living in the lap of luxury. So instead of stopping the night they moved out, each taking a soiled pill in hopes to make up lost time. Naruto went back to camp with Hinata. They acted as though nothing happened. Naruto ate his breakfast silently, while everyone else in the camp was silent also. Just then Sai sat down next to him. Good morning, Les, he said, giving a fake smile. Naruto bristled in anger. What was that for? He said quietly but harshly, knowing he had to be as silent as possible. I don't know, I read in a book that friends give nicknames to other friends. So I was trying it out. Naruto stared at him. Well, what made you think that? Sai sighed. Well, you're the female role in the relationship with Kiba, so thus I came up with the name Les. Naruto proceeded to try and keep his temper in line. Then he remembered Kiba's protectiveness about him. So he slyly went to Kiba, fake tears in his eyes. He woke Kiba up saying, Kibbbbbbaa. Sai is calling me names and hurting my feellillinnngggss. Kiba instantly growled and turned his glaring eyes to Sai. He then cracked his fingers and rose in his pants, showing off his toned and well-muscled body. Your dog food, said Kiba. Sai blanched and cowered behind the log. Then Kiba chased him. Naruto sat cross-legged on Kiba's sleeping bag watching Kiba and smiling at how stupid Sai was for picking on him when he had such an awesome boyfriend. By this time people were starting to wake up. They all stared, not really getting why Sai was running for dear life. And a shirtless Kiba was chasing after him looking as though he wanted to kill him. Naruto finally whistled and Kiba stopped. Okay, Inu-kun. He learned his lesson. Never mess with Naruto. Now come back, he said, patting the sleeping bag. Instantly Kiba was at his side. Naruto giggled and gave him a kiss. Then was about to get back up when Kiba grabbed his hand and pulled him across Kiba's lap. Naruto was startled and then Kiba took advantage of the situation and started to kiss Naruto again. They stayed like that until Kakashi, who was still in his sleeping bag a few feet away, coughed a couple times. Okay lovebirds. Break it up. We have to book it. Naruto and Kiba broke apart, saying quiet. I love yous. Then Naruto got back up again. This time Kiba only swatted Naruto's ass. They broke up camp and started out. Naruto the entire time kept thinking how he would tell Kiba and what would happen. Then the fox interjected his thoughts for a second. By the way Kit, I forgot to tell you, we have very rapid pregnancies, so I calculated for you, and you'll be full term in 3 months, so have fun. Naruto could have screamed in frustration at the fox, but kept it inside. Well, thank you for stepping on my head while I'm drowning. Anything else I need to know? But his thoughts were interjected once more by the feeling of dread, and then he saw a fast-moving object head right for him. Luckily he dodged, and was able to escape the blast from the letter bomb also. He instantly went on the offense, hoping to hit them fast and hard. He threw 3 giant windmill shuriken at the nearest blue-cloaked man. The man sent a burst of flame out of his hands. Naruto smirked. He was a fire-type user. Instantly Naruto released the clones from their shuriken form. They jumped back away from the flames, surprising the man. 2 did the shadow shuriken technique while the other went through the hand signs for a water jutsu. The man, preoccupied with dodging the shuriken, forgot about him and the other clone. He quickly jumped over the man unnoticed and went through Daburu Sui Ryu no Danmaku. Double water dragon barrage, hand signs. While the clone in front sent a large gust of wind throughout the entire area. Everyone was stopped in their tracks momentarily at the force of the wind. The jutsu knocked the man backwards, and Naruto completed the hand signs and was able to intercept the prone figure with 2 large and wickedly fast dragons made from water. They surrounded the man, encasing him in water. Naruto held him there until he quickly speed up the speed of the water so fast, it cut the man into ribbons, as though he were really being engulfed by dragons. With 1 down, Naruto released his jutsu, letting the water fall with the motionless and lifeless body. Neji, Hinata, Lee and Sakura had formed a protective circle around Kakashi. Kiba, Akamaru and Sai Ten was holding off 2 other Mien who attacked them with a mixture of weapons and fast-hitting jutsus. Kiba was able to dodge most of them and Ten was intercepting the weapons. Sai was making ink gremlins to distract and annoy the men, while Kiba did his fang over fang with Akamaru. The rest of the cloaked figures were circling around the group. None of them even noticed the old man with white hair slip away. Naruto smirked and then launched into the hand signs for Mathi Ryoku Fu. Mighty Force Wind. He went to his knee. A small dishendurance with this jutsu was he had to stay still and concentrate. He hid himself behind a tree branch but still was able to see what was going on. He first picked off those on the outside. The girl who had to be held back by her teammates was first. He swept her up. She screamed. 2 men turned to see their partner being carried away. Naruto increased the speed of the wind, creating a vacuum around her. She wasn't able to move or breathe. She gasped in the nothingness, reaching for her comrades. Then with 1 last twitch she died. Naruto dropped her, then sent the wind back at them, trying to morph it into a form of something that looked like a dragon. Using what little genjutsu he knew, he made the wind pause, looking like a small silvery dragon ghost. Wu duress. Attack KKKKKK Mai Jewel. Yi attack KKKKKK something the wind DDDOWNSSSSSS. You cannot own the wind DDDDD. He made the dragon say. 1 man who was slightly burned dropped his blade. I didn't sign on for this. I'm leaving. Naruto made his dragon turn to him saying, good DDDDD, Levi, and I want kill you. The man was about to run when suddenly a blade shot through the man's chest. The leader moved his head and whispered loud enough so everyone could hear. Don't be such a fool, Kuiku. It was just a genjutsu. You left us for a trick, too bad. Now you die. And with that the bladed hand punched all the way through the poor man. They heard a crunch and the man gasped, gurgled, and then fell to the forest floor dead. The 6 remaining people then stopped looking at Naruto's jutsu and turned back to their main target. Kakashi, during the time when the dragon was talking, had formulated a plan and told everyone in his whole bodyguard group what was going down. He created a Chidori and everyone immediately went into barrage attacks at the nearest person in blue cloaks. They were taken by surprise, but immediately pushed back. Kakashi escaped and made to run away towards the palace, and Raito was going to chase after him when a blonde teen intercepted him. He intercepted his bladed gloves with a kunai to the middle of his palm. The armor on his palm was merely thick leather, but it was also worn too, so the kunai stabbed his hand. In reaction his body flinched and pulled his hand back, but not before his blades cut the blonde teen's arm. The teen grunted and exclaimed in pain, and brought his injured arm back. Raito could already see that the boy was starting to heal. What the hell is this kid? He thought. Raito ignored the pain in his hand and swiped at the blonde teen again. The blonde did some acrobatically flips back. Oh hell no. I'm not playing this game, he thought, so instead of chasing after the teen he did some quick hand signs. To the surprise of the teen, who probably thought he couldn't do them with his special glove, and sent a bolt of lightning at the teen. The blonde had dodged it, but not all. He got burned from the intense heat of the bolt across his back. The blonde screamed out in agony. Raito turned as he heard another man scream out as well. A large teen bigger than himself had the eyes of a wild dog as he screamed out the word, Naruto. Just then the boy slapped hands with his dog companion. Although at first glance he really did think it was horse, a really fuzzy weird looking horse. Just then 2 large objects spinning like tornadoes came barreling at him. One attacked his feet while the other went for his torso. He jumped and twisted in mid-air while sweeping up his weaponed hand. He heard a howl of agony and thought he hit the dog when the blur landed in a poof of smoke, showing it was the teen clutching his side and breathing raggedly. Blood poured out and teen collapsed. Raito stepped forward ready finished the job when the dog attacked his blind side. Naruto watched as Kiba hit the ground. Naruto ran to him completely ignoring everything else. He flipped Kiba to his back and cradled Kiba's head in his arms. Kiba. Naruto said, scared. There was so much blood. Naruto pressed his one hand against it, then took his jacket off and wrapped it around the wound, slowing the blood loss. Kiba looked up at him. He could tell he was in pain, but Kiba still smiled for him. Suddenly anger boiled through his veins. How dare he thought, how dare he harm my Kiba, how dare he harm my mate. Just then Naruto let out a roar as he turned. His fangs grew to 3 times their size. Red chakra bubbled up around him. His eyes turned blood red and angry. Claws grew from his fingers. He let himself completely go to his wild side. He released the inner demon, the one that felt protectfulness for Kiba. Suddenly everything stopped. The cloaked men stared in horror, but couldn't run. They were frozen in fear from the killer intent that leaked out of the demon-turned teen. Suddenly, without warning, it attacked. For a few seconds all was still as screams and cries pierced the air, and blood splattered the earth. It was over way too quick. Everyone was frozen waiting for Naruto in his tailed form to attack them next, but he didn't. Instead he staggered back to Kiba's form, then fell to his knees crooning as the demonic features melted away. Sakura ran to Kiba first. She removed Naruto's bloody jacket and started to heal him. Kiba groaned. Naruto whimpered and rested Kiba's head on his knees. Hinata was next, for she too had some training in medical skills. Together they got the worst of the wound. But it still was pretty bad. It didn't help that Kiba had gotten injured here before. With his fight against Sakin and Udon, Kiba gasped. Well, I lived a pretty good life. I guess. Naruto instantly growled. No. Kiba, don't say that. You have to live. Why, you're going to live. Sakura is going to make you better, and you're going to laugh this off someday. You're going to be fine. Naruto by this time had tears running down his face. I can't think of a reason. I know I have you, but what if I lose you? Naruto shook his head. You'll never lose me. I'll stay by your side forever. Plus you do have another reason altogether, he said, scooting to his side holding his hand. What is it? Kiba said, starting to fight the incoming blackness from the amount of blood he lost. Naruto leaned down and whispered quietly, but everyone could still hear. You have to live because you're going to be a father, Kiba. I'm pregnant. With that Naruto kissed him. Kiba brought a hand up and grabbed his head, and Kiba whispered, I'm happy, then blacked out. Everyone was silent around the fire. They had moved Kiba's sleeping form over to a hollowed-out portion of a tree. Naruto sat next to him, hopping into action the second Kiba groaned, or tousled in his feverish sleep. Everyone took the news differently. Sakura finally broke the silence. It does explain a lot of things, why he was sick, why he was tired, a lot. Neji nodded. But I still can't get my head wrapped around how a guy can get pregnant, Neji said, taking a sip of tea. It's because of the Kyuubi, Hinata finally piped up. Everyone looked at her. Yesterday Naruto meditated and went and talked to the Kyuubi. I watched over him while he did. He came back and he was happy and excited, saying he was pregnant, and that he couldn't wait to tell Kiba. I told him to tell everyone after the mission, and he agreed. Then he told me how it happened. Then Hinata explained what Naruto had told her. Some understanding finally dawned on everyone, but it was still a hard pill to swallow. Sakura rose and walked over to where Kiba and Naruto were. Naruto glanced up at her, then dipped a rag into some water and wetted Kiba's forehead. When will his fever break? Naruto asked. It's different for all people. Kiba young and strong. He'll probably pull through. Just needs some rest and a few more sessions of healing and he will be good as new. Naruto nodded. Come on Naruto, you need to eat. It's not good for your health or the baby's, and I should warn you not to use any jutsus while you're pregnant from now on. You just need to rest and relax. Now come to the fire. Naruto took one glance at Kiba, then kissed his forehead, then got up and walked to the fire with Sakura. Naruto sat down and put a head in his hand. He was way too stressed right now. Sakura gave him some tea. He sipped it, letting the liquid warm his bones. His muscles finally relaxed after the first few sips, and he sighed. Sakura then handed him a plate of food. He ate it quietly. He heard a whimper from Kiba and stopped and was going to rise to go to Kiba when Hinata stopped him. Naruto, relax. I'll check on him. You need to rest. Naruto grumbled but nodded when Hinata left. Naruto finally said, does anyone know when Jiraiya is coming back? Kakashi shook his head. It might take a while. They do things ceremonially at the palace. Naruto, for the first time in his life, felt the weight of his loneliness. The father of his child was unconscious and had one foot in the death realms. His only godfather was miles away, and here he was feeling alone and detached as ever. He slid off the rock he was sitting on and brought his knees to his chin, then wrapped his arms around his legs, then started to cry. Sakura was instantly next to him. She rubbed his back. Naruto, it's okay. Kiba will wake up soon, and Jiraiya will be back. Then you and Kiba can start talking about baby things, like strollers and bottles and a cute little crib filled with soft baby toys, and in the middle there will be your baby, with your eyes and Kiba hair. As Naruto listened to Sakura's comforting words, he instantly felt loved and adored. Then he remembered he was carrying a very precious thing, something that will love him and hug him, and go to him when it was afraid, a small cute little child, and everyone would love him or her. He wiped his eyes, and looked to see that Tenten and Hinata were next to him. Then Akamaru came up to him and licked Naruto's hand. Naruto instantly melted and wrapped his arms around the giant head, burying his face in the fur, taking in the dog's scent that reminded him of Kiba. Just the thought of Kiba snapped him awake. Kiba? He said, looking at Hinata. He's fine. His fever has went down a degree or two, but it's still pretty high. I gave him some more aspirin and checked his wound. It's healing great. Naruto sighed but still hugged Akamaru. I don't know why I got sad all of a sudden. Sorry for worrying you guys. Sakura patted his shoulder. It's okay. It's the hormones. A lot of women, when they get pregnant, after they start thinking about all the things, they get stressed and sad. And you have been stressed too much, Naruto. Just relax. Naruto grinned at her. Thank you, Sakura. I think I'm better for now. Then Naruto sunk his head into Akamaru once more. He's like a big fluffy pillow. Then they could hear Naruto mumble. Then a few seconds later they heard some snores from the pregnant teen. Kakashi ended up carrying Naruto over to where Kiba was. He placed the blonde on the sleeping bag next to the hurt ninja. Naruto grumbled but fell back to a deep, much-needed sleep. Akamaru curled up next to him, and soon everyone went to bed, all of them tired and finally able to sleep peacefully. The next morning Naruto once again had to drag himself out of his sleeping bag and go and puke. He came back in and checked Kiba. He looked a little less pained and the wound was less angry looking and had faded some. Naruto got some water down his throat, and then just sat next to him and talked. It didn't matter what he said, as long as Kiba heard his voice, as long as Kiba knew he was there. He talked at how when they got back, They would decorate one of his spare rooms and fill it with toys and diapers and stuffed animals. And how their child would be the happiest child because he or she would be loved like no other. And how it would grow up playing next to Akamaru and have his eyes in Kiba's hair, or Kiba's eyes in his hair. He just kept talking. Then it was time for breakfast. Naruto, remembering he was quite hungry, so he went over to the fire. The smell of bacon with onions filled his nostrils. And then he smelled the onion more. Instantly his stomach had a reaction. He covered his nose and ran to the nearest bushes again. When he got back, Sakura was looking at him weird. "What's wrong?" Naruto grimaced. "The onion smell. It just made me sick." Sakura quickly covered the pan. "Here, this your breakfast, and these are your prenatal vitamins," she said, holding up a pill the size of a quarter. Naruto just stared at it. "Are you serious? This looks like some of Akamaru's medicine. Look at the size of this thing. You want me to swallow that? Are you crazy? What if I choke and die?" Sakura sighed. "Naruto, this is for the baby. Do you want it to come out looking deformed and sickly?" Naruto sighed and took the pill from her. He grimaced when he put the chalky fruity taste in his mouth. He grabbed a bottle of water and chugged it, trying not to gag as the pill went down his throat. He sighed. "What is it for again?" he said after he got the taste out of his mouth. "These are specially formulated multivitamins that make up for any nutritional deficiencies in your diet." Naruto stared at her. "Well, you ate ramen all your life, so you are lacking in some things, okay? How about if you don't take them? The baby will come out shriveled up like a prune." Naruto gasped. "I need more." Sakura shook her head. "No, one a day, too much could also harm the baby." Naruto then finished his breakfast and took care of Akamaru. While he was walking, Akamaru Sai came up to him and said, "Are you sure you have a? Because from the books I read most guys do not get pregnant." Naruto then got very angry at Sai suddenly. He grabbed a large tree branch and swung at Sai. Sai barely dodged it and started running for his dear life as Naruto chased him back to the fire. Akamaru hot on his heels. "I didn't mean it. I was stating out a fact." "I'm sorry, why must you try to kill me?" Naruto yelled out. "Because I'm a hormonal imbalanced pregnant person. I have to take horse pills every morning and throw up in the morning and whenever I smell something. I have the right to kill you." Kakashi was able to calm Naruto down and take the branch away before he hurt someone or really did kill Sai. Just then a medium-sized toad hopped into the clearing. It yelled out, looking for Uzumaki Naruto." Message from Jiraiya. It was surprisingly a blue toad with golden eyes, and wore little armor. Instead it carried a large bag full of scrolls and papers, and a side holder filled with ink brushes and ink pots. "Yeah. A messenger toad," Naruto said, surprisingly happy and carefree once more. "All good you are, Naruto?" Naruto nodded. "Well, Jiraiya says that he made it to the palace. He will be held up one more day, but he says you can head back if none of you are too injured, or you can stay and wait for him, that is all. Do you have a message for him?" Naruto nodded. "Tell him we'll wait for him. Kiba got hurt, oh. And tell him, he's going to be a great-grandfather soon," he said excitedly. The toad looked Naruto up and down. "I see, congrats on the pregnancy, young Uzumaki. May it be a healthy one." Naruto nodded a thank you. "Well, I better get going, you can only hop so fast. Plus I can't wait to see the look on old pervy Sage's face when he hears that he's going to be a great-grandfather." The toad and Naruto parted and Naruto went back to Kiba. Everyone rested up that day. Hinata and Sakura took turns healing Kiba a little more. By the end of the day, he woke up long enough for Naruto and Kiba to have their small bonding moment. Naruto cried on Kiba's shoulder, and Kiba just held him there and said, "Everything is going to be all right." Then they said "I love you" and indulged in one heartfelt kiss before Kiba slipped off to sleep. Naruto was taking it easy, but not as easy as Sakura wanted him to. She kept nagging at him that he should lay down and they would take care of Kiba. Naruto finally sighed and laid stretched out on a rock basking in the sun. Akamaru came up and comforted him. They laid like that for maybe an hour or two, and suddenly Naruto just started talking to Akamaru as well. He never got to be with the dog like this, so Naruto talked while Akamaru listened and licked Naruto's face or hands sometimes. Pretty soon Naruto felt hungry, so he walked over to Sakura. "Sakura, I am hungry. What can I eat?" Sakura sighed and got up and gave him a bowl of rice with salmon. "Here, eat that, it's healthy for you." Naruto greedily ate it. Naruto accidentally spilled on his shirt and looked down to wipe it and noticed his shirt was tighter than usual. He slid his shirt up and looked at his stomach. He put his hand on it. It was slightly firm and had a slight curve to it if you looked hard enough. Wow, that's so cool, he said looking at his stomach. Sakura turned to see what he was looking at. Wow, I wonder how far along you really are. It's weird you only started having morning sickness last week. Naruto looked up at her. Oh. I forgot to tell you all. Demons have rapid pregnancies. I'll be full term in 3 months instead of 9. Neji, Lee, and Sai, who happened to be taking a drink of tea at the time, spat their tea out and surprisingly swiped his mouth. Tea, that is amazing, Naruto. The power of youth is quite strong with your child. It wants to be born in the world so soon, Yash. Naruto turned back to Sakura. Remind me to keep my child away from Lee when it is born. Sakura nodded. I think that is a good idea. Naruto smirked. Maybe I should go check on Kiba once more. Naruto got up and went to Kiba despite Sakura's protest. Sakura sighed and looked over to Hinata. He sat with Shino. She walked over to them. He has got to stop worrying so much. He needs to rest and relax. He's too hyper. Then Hinata turned to her. Well, what do you think the baby is going to be like? Both Naruto and Kiba are the most hyper in our class. And the biggest loud mouths. And the biggest hot heads. And, oh, crap. That child is going to be the most hyper and loudest person in the world. Hinata gasped and Sakura blanched, and suddenly everyone around the circle realized that Hinata was right. Neji finally said, I feel both happy and sorry for Kiba at the same time. Hinata nodded in agreement. The next day around afternoon, Jiraiya finally appeared. Naruto jumped up and ran to him, ignoring Sakura's protest of not making such sudden movements. Jiraiya hugged Naruto. Boy, I can't believe you're making a great-grandfather out of me. Naruto grinned. I know, I can't wait, and it'll only be in 3 months. Jiraiya then proceeded to faint. Sakura revived him and they got down to business. So how's Kiba? Is he okay to travel? Sakura answered him. His fever is broke, much to the relief of his over-worried pregnant boyfriend, who would not rest until he was sure Kiba was okay. Naruto yelled from where Kiba sat propped up. I heard that. And I was not over-worried. Sakura rolled her eyes and continued on. I think he should have 1 more day of rest, and then he will be able to ride Akamaru home as long as he doesn't go too fast. But then it comes to Naruto. Pregnant people should not use chakra. And plus, I want Naruto to rest as much as possible and not put too much stress on his body. Although he said he talked to the 9 tails, and he said the baby will be fine. Naruto finally came out. I don't see why you people have to worry about me. I'm fine. I am Naruto Uzumaki. I can handle a pregnancy or 2. Sakura looked at Naruto. You're planning to have more. Naruto grinned and smiled. Yami and Kiba were talking and we both decided on a big family. Maybe 4 or 5, depends. Once again 3 certain people in the group who happened to be drinking at the moment spat their tea again. Naruto looked at everyone who was staring at him. What? I'm an only child. I don't want my baby an only child also. Then Naruto turned and yelled, Kiba. What do you want for lunch? Then an equally as loud person yelled back, I don't care. Any kind of meat will do. Naruto turned to people plugging their ears. He grabbed some leftover bacon from lunch and put it on some bread, then put some lettuce and cheese on it. The grabbed 2 pops, Naruto. Sakura said loudly. Naruto grumbled and put the 1 down. Can't even have pop, as he carried the sandwich and snacks over to Kiba. The next day they headed out. Kiba was riding Akamaru, who went as smoothly as possible, and Naruto had to end up being carried by Jiraiya on Jiraiya back. Naruto sat glumly the whole way. They stopped to rest or when Naruto had to throw up. The week passed by quickly and soon they could see Konoha, and you could also see a small baby bump on Naruto already. Kiba would spend hours at night just putting his hands on it and grinning stupidly and talking to it. Naruto finally got used to Kiba's weird behavior and thought nothing of it. Kiba's wound still bugged him, but now that they were finally in front of the main gates of Konoha, everyone was both happy and relieved. Sasuke was in Tsunade's office dusting off the books and knick-knacks on the walls. Tsunade had finally taken away every manly and proud thing the Uchiha ever had, as he was now wearing kitty cat ears and tail, which kept knocking stuff down every time he turned too swiftly. Tsunade was absolutely enjoying and using her power to the maximum insane levels. Sasuke glumly finished his work and went back to Tsunade to see if she had any other degrading chores for him to do. Just then Shizune rushed in. Lady Tsunade. They're back. Just then, traveling behind her was the entire group, who on entry stopped and stared at a blushing and glaring evilly Sasuke. Oh, yeah, you're back. Say hello, Sasuke. She said in a fake cute voice. Sasuke, who was not allowed to speak in human tongue while he was in uniform, merely hissed at them and at her. Tsunade made a pouting face. "Oh, dear, my kitty is misbehaving, Sasuke. Resume the position." Sasuke, growling low in his throat, kneeled on the floor and sat with his paws in front. Everyone could feel the killer intent leaking out of him. Tsunade got a spray bottle out and sprayed him, saying, "Bad kitty." Sasuke went into a fit of hissing spurts but then calmed down, slightly. Tsunade then finally diverted her attention to them, so the mission was a success. Tsunade questioned, Jiraiya nodded and pulled out a sealed scroll from the daimyo himself. Tsunade picked it up and read it. "Good, excellent. Okay Sasuke, playtime is over." Sasuke immediately started to rip everything off. "Be careful or I will have you play French cleaning maid, high heels and all at the jail." Sasuke visibly recoiled, then gently started to take the stuff off, handling it with utmost care. "That's better," Tsunade said. Tsunade put her scroll down and suddenly Naruto and Kiba with grins on their faces stepped up. And Naruto spoke first. "Guess what, Ba-chan? Me and Kiba are going to be parents. I'm pregnant." And with that, Kiba and Naruto hugged each other and gave each other a kiss. Tsunade was surprised, then smiled. "Oh, my god, come here, that is the best news I have received all day." She then brought Naruto into a hug. Then Tsunade and Naruto started talking excitedly to each other. Naruto explained to her how he got pregnant, and how soon he was going to have them. "Okay, first things first, I will have to remove you from the missions board. Kiba, I will remove you also if you wish." Kiba shook his head. "No, I better go on a few, but keep them close to home and don't try to kill me. And we have to decorate one of Naruto's spare rooms." While everyone was going on about baby things and stuff, Sasuke was greatly confused. He finally yelled out, "Hold up. Can someone please explain to me what is going on?" Everyone turned to him. Tsunade sighed. "Sasuke, Naruto in a context is a demon. So he reproduces like one. Male demons can conceive and carry embryos until the full due date." This time Naruto was confused. "Okay, I know I failed language class, but doesn't an apostrophe s make it plural as in more than one? Are you saying I could have babies?" Tsunade nodded. "Most likely. Naruto, foxes and animals usually have children in batches or litters, so you could also, so we need to check. Let's go get an ultrasound done. Come Naruto, let's go see how many you're having this time," she said. Grabbing a hold of Naruto was then put on a table in front of a weird device with a screen. Tsunade, Sakura and Kiba appeared. Everyone else was outside waiting for the news. Sakura put some weird cold gel on Naruto's exposed stomach. Naruto shivered, then Lady Tsunade pressed it against his skin. She turned the lights off and soon the machine screen looked like an alien to Naruto. Then they heard whirring sounds and soon two little but separate beating hearts appeared on the screen. Naruto was instantly captivated. "Those are my babies," he thought, and then started to cry in happiness. Kiba squeezed his hand. Naruto looked at him. Kiba was also crying. Naruto giggled a bit. This is the first time seeing you cry?" They both giggled and Kiba reached up a hand to wipe away a tear. "Don't take me, Kiba's stone face, for granted," he said, making a slight joke. Naruto laughed again. "Hey, can we get a picture?" Naruto said. Naruto walked out of the ultrasound room, holding a small black picture, showing the little dots on it. Naruto held it out. "Behold, my good people, mine and Kiba's future twins," he said. All the girl then instantly gushed. "So what are you going to name them?" 10 asked. Naruto and Kiba looked at each other. "Don't know, we'll think of some up when it gets closer to the time." Hinata gasped. "Do you know when you are due?" Naruto shook his head. "No, not yet. Well, I'm kind of tired, so I'm going home. CYA guys later." A few days later, Sakura, 10, and Hinata got together with Ino and they told her the news, so they rounded up everyone else. That was Naruto's friend, and soon all the rookie 9 were gathered together by their female companions Shikamaru's side. "What a drag, I'm dragged here by annoying women for nothing." Sakura and the girls finally appeared. All the guys, besides Naruto and Kiba, stood there. "Okay, some of you know, but some of you don't know yet," Sakura said. "It's about Naruto?" Hinata piped, and some people stood straighter at the mention of his name. He was the host of the 9 Tails. He was deathly important. "What's wrong? Did the 9 Tails do something?" asked a worried Iruka-sensei who was here on his break. Hinata shook her head. "No, it's not that. We brought you all together to tell you important and happy news." Shikamaru sighed. "Get on with it, I need to go take a nap." Ino finally sighed. Fine, Naruto is pregnant with twins and Kiba is the father. Shikamaru, Choji, Gai-sensei, Kurenai-sensei and Asuma-sensei, and Iruka-sensei were shocked. They stood with their mouths opening and closing like fishes. Well, that's good. At least now I have someone to talk to about pregnancy stuff. Kurenai-sensei said, clapping happily. Oh yeah. We can go shopping together and pick out little booties, and decorate each other's rooms, and oh. Yeah, Asu-kun, this is going to be fun. You and Kiba can talk about stuff also. Just then Naruto and Kiba came walking in holding hands. Naruto held a large 64 ounces orange slushy cup. You could see already a small baby, or should I say baby's bump. Kurenai squealed and ran, waddled to him dragging, Asu-kun. Yeah Naruto, I'm so excited. Now we can talk about baby stuff together. Naruto instantly got a light in his eyes. We can. They then hugged each other and felt each other's tummies. I can't believe you have twins in there. She exclaimed. Yeah I know, Naruto said with just as much enthusiasm. We should go shopping for cribs and baby stuff. What do you have picked out for your baby theme? Naruto grinned. Well, I have been thinking of a frog nursery, baby penguin or a turtle theme. They are all so cute, Kurenai gasped. Wow, I never thought of a turtle theme. I was thinking of a jungle or zoo, or even a teddy bear theme. Naruto gasped. That sounds cool too. It's so hard to decide and I have to pick something quick. I'm due in like 2 months and 15 days. Kurenai looked at him. Well Naruto, we better get shopping right away. Come on, they are having a sale at Nursery Depot. Come on Asu-kun. Kurenai yelled. Naruto turned to Kiba. Let's go. The baby stores beacon Kiba. An entire day in baby stores filled with cute things for our babies. Let's go. Kiba and Asu-kun were then dragged unwillingly towards the baby stores that waited for them. Shikamaru smirked. Ha. Suckers, that's why women are trouble. Choji looked at him. Yeah, but Naruto's not a woman. Shikamaru had to stop and think for a second. And demons. Women and demons are the same thing, troublesome. He said, nodding, but just then 4 kunoichi glared at Shikamaru. They together as one cracked their knuckles. Shikamaru gulped, then said, Run Choji, run. They're onto us. May the power of Kami repel you. He shouted as both he and Choji ran for their lives. Kiba and Asuma sat on the benches with all the other soon-to-be dads. Every man there had the same look on his face. Get me out of here, for they sat holding bags or boxes sitting next to newly bought strollers also filled with baby merchandise. Naruto decided to go with a Forest Friends theme because it had foxes, and Kurenai-sensei decided to go with a dinosaur nursery because they all looked so cute. As Kurenai-sensei and the other women talked about baby stuff and what to get, and the latest news, Naruto found the cutest twin crib. It was 2 cribs that were put together and go in the corner of a wall. The best news was, 1. It was on sale, 2. It had all the top latest safety features, and 3. It had little parade of animals carved into the wood. It was a fox leading followed by a raccoon holding the fox's tail. Then the raccoon was followed by a little deer. Then the deer had a frog hopping behind it. And then a cat was chasing the frog and the fox was chasing the cat. And it started all over. Naruto of course begged Kiba to buy it, which they did. So at the end of the day, Naruto was pushing a double stroller full of baby toys and bottles and clothing while Kiba was carrying the box with the crib's parts over his shoulder, along with any other boxes of things Naruto had to buy. Kurenai was the same. They strolled next to each other talking happily while 2 men trailed behind them huffing and puffing beneath the weight of the stuff. Sadly, the 2 pregnant friends had to split apart and go their separate ways to decorate their nurseries. Just then Naruto and Kiba turned the corner and there they ran into Hana Inazaka, Kiba's older sister. She looked at Kiba, then to Naruto, then to what Kiba was holding, then to what Naruto was pushing. She gasped in realization. She backed up slowly, ready to run. Kiba yelled, "Wait, let me explain." Hana shook her head then said, "Why, you haven't came back home in almost 3 weeks, Kiba. We found out you were on a mission and thought you would come back, but you haven't, and now I see this," she said, pointing to them. "I'm telling mother." That was all she said before she ran out of sight. Naruto and Kiba continued home silently. When they got in, Naruto went to the couch. He sat there then finally said, "What's going to happen to us, Kiba?" he said, crying. Kiba went to him and wrapped an arm around him. "Don't worry, we'll figure a way out of this mess. I won't leave you," he said softly. "Bibit K Kiba, they could kill you for deserting your clan." Kiba sighed. I know Naruto, but trust me we'll be together always. Naruto nodded but still felt terrible. Kiba got up, I'm going to make something to eat, okay? Naruto nodded. Kiba went into the kitchen but then came back, to ask what Naruto wanted and seen Naruto on the couch, his arms wrapped around Akamaru, his face buried into him. Kiba's heart, for the first time in his life he felt it well up and seemed to swell with the amount of emotion. He was sad to put Naruto through this. He was happy he was going to be a father. He was mad at his clan, mad at his sister, scared of what was going to happen, and scared of what could happen to Naruto and the twins. Kiba turned and went to the sink. He leaned up against it, then he let out a few quiet tears. He then made a promise to himself, and to Naruto, I will not let anyone tear me away from Naruto or my children. Not even my own family. With that he wiped his tears, then decided what to make for supper. Inazaka Sume was shocked at what had came out of her daughter's mouth as she kneeled before her on the floor. Sume didn't know what to think. Should she be happy or angry? Should she be worried or upset? And if she was angry, who should she be angry at? Kiba? He had been a troubled child when he was young, but then he became so strong and Inazaka-like, but then he started sneaking out. And being out all night, sometimes he would be gone for days on end. It pulled at her heartstrings that every woman had in their heart. Or should she be mad at that Naruto Uzumaki? I mean, he did beat her Kiba in the Chunin exams, but that actually helped him get stronger, she could see that. But the information she got plus the rumor that were spreading around like wildfire. Naruto Uzumaki, holder of the nine-tailed fox, was pregnant. And Kiba Inazaka, her son, was the father of not one baby but two. The teen was having twins. She let in some air then exhaled loudly. She told Hana to leave and prepare for her wedding next week. She looked over at battle-scared Kuromaru. What do you think? He shook his head. You are alpha, and he is your pup. You decide this, not me. But remember this. Your son would have never grew to the man he was or survived if it wasn't for that Naruto Uzumaki. Sume sighed. This is going to be a hard decision, she thought. A cold hard knock on the door awoke Naruto and Kiba the next morning. Kiba, with only his nose, knew who it was. He got up, kissed Naruto and went to the door. He opened it. His sister stood without her dogs, which was a surprising sight to see. Then Kiba remembered that they probably were still in the breeding pens. His sister studied him for a bit. Then she said, "Mother wants to see you, alone," she added, flickering her chocolate brown eyes towards Akamaru, who stood protectively in front of a now dressed and awoken Naruto. Kiba turned to Naruto. Their eyes met. Kiba could see the fear and worries in Naruto's eyes. He couldn't deny that he probably had the same look. Naruto's hand instinctively went to his abdomen. It was all the strength Kiba needed. He met with those ocean blue eyes once more. He winked and gave his grin that he knew always comforted Naruto no matter what. Naruto gave him a small grin back, but his eyes still shone bright with conflicting emotion. Kiba stepped outside to leave and Hana stepped around him and turned in the doorway. "Mother told me to stay with Naruto and keep him company. Don't worry, I was ordered not to harm him." Kiba felt unsure about what to do. But Naruto came up behind Hana and said, "Go Kiba, I'll be fine." Kiba nodded and did his small hand signs to Naruto that meant, "I love you." Naruto nodded and did the same. Hana was confused at this but said nothing. Kiba turned and walked with his head held high and his shoulders held back towards the Inazaka compound, his home when he was a child. But now his home was with Naruto, for the saying is true, home is always where the heart is. Hana turned into the home of Kiba and Naruto. Naruto came out with a tray of tea and set it down. "Sit down, might as well be comfortable," said Naruto cheerfully. Hana was a little awestruck at the kindness Naruto was giving her, and at how much emotion he showed in his voice and his facial expressions. Since birth, Hana was always taught to guard her emotions, be wary and on the lookout of everyone and everything, always be on your guard. Which has led to many clans calling the Inazaka stone-faced, and Kiba was one of the best. Always with his famous scowl, but something was different with him. The way they exchanged looks and gestures, the way Kiba looked then was softer, much more expressive. He looked so much like father did with mother, before he died, that is, in the 20 seconds Hana had spent with the Uzumaki person. She could already feel the 19 years of guarding her emotions start to slip. There was something about him that made her trust and believe this blonde teen. She sat down and sipped the tea. It was warming and relaxing. Once more she had to struggle to keep up her stone-faced Inazaka posture. Naruto sat on the other side of her and sipped the tea. He exhaled and giggled. "It's so refreshing. It's a special blend I found in a pregnancy store. It's relaxing for everyone, and very helpful for those who are expecting." he said looking down at his bulge. Hana trailed her eyes down to his abdomen. Naruto snapped his head up. Do you want to feel them? Hana was surprised at this, but she never really had gotten to do that for any of her aunts or cousins' bellies, so curiosity won her over. She nodded, trying not to break out in a giddy smile. Naruto got up and sat next to her. He pulled his shirt up. Hana laid a gentle hand on his abdomen. She gasped. It was a feeling she could not put into words. It felt amazing. It was as though she could actually feel the life in them, their want to survive and grow. She could feel the love that was put into them. And the love given back. She was honored to ever have the chance to do this. Instantly she felt her stony personality crumble and chip away. The true Hana, the one who likes to laugh and sing, and smile and act like a little girl, came out. She giggled like a fool for the first time in a long time. Naruto smirked up at her. You and your brother are the same. Every time he does that he starts giggling like that also. Hana smiled at him. You know, I can see why Kiba would rather be with you than with the clan. Everyone there is so cold and distant. You're warm and close by all the time. Naruto blushed at the compliment, then had an idea. You want to see the nursery? Hana got a sparkle in her eyes. Would I ever? And with that the two giggling and happy people ran to the nursery. Kiba entered through the gates and marched all the way to the main house, ignoring the stares and whispers on either side from his own family members. He entered through the sliding door and went right to the room he knew Mother would be in. She sat on her knees with Kuromaru laying next to her, regarding him with his only good eye, his only ear swiveled, constantly doing double the work to keep up with the noise. Kiba bowed and sat cross-legged on the floor before her. She regarded him then sighed. Kiba, I know the rumors are true, but I must hear them from you anyways. Is it true you have been staying with Uzumaki Naruto? Kiba nodded. Is it true that by some means have been able to breed successfully with the Uzumaki and now are expecting twins? Kiba nodded. It's the 9 tails. It rendered him able to produce, but like that of female dogs, his best chances of success are when he is in heat. Sume was impressed with her son. He kept his eyes locked on hers. The sign between dogs meant equality between them. Neither he nor she would let go of their ground. She smiled on the inside. He has been taught well. She continued on. Why have you not returned back to the compound? Kiba looked at her and said, because you have not ordered me back. You told me to leave when the females went in heat. Then you never sent word for me to come back. On the outside Sume was calm and reserved, but on the inside she was not so much reserved. Crap. That's right. I forgot. What kind of mother forgets her child? It's not my fault. I have been busy with Hana's wedding arrangements. Damn, I made an ass of myself. Kiba has not deserted the clan. He's actually been following clan orders. Well, I better not let him catch on to my mistake. Sume cleared her throat. That is correct. You have followed orders exactly. Now we wish you to return home. This time Kiba shook his head. I'm sorry, Sume-san, but I am already at home, with Naruto. The shock took Sume by surprise. He no longer called her mother, like he did when he was a little whelp. He called her by her authority, to show how much he has grown. Once again she felt pride swell within her. Kiba-san, you are of the age to decide where you wish to live and with who, so I cannot stop you with that, but, she said, you are not of the age to have legitimate heirs, so those children will be Uzumaki until you reach the age of 18, and when you marry Naruto Uzumaki, then they will have their names switched to Inazaka and become fully fledged members of the clan. She put well stated. Kiba nodded. I understand. Sume looked at her son. For the first time she softened and smiled. You have grown to be so much like your father. Kiba was surprised and looked at her. You think with your heart, just like your father did. I have come to realize that now, and just like your father, he was a person I could not stay mad at. Now that we have gotten all this silly clan rules behind us, let's go see that future daughter-in-law. Cause officially you are engaged. You are marrying that Naruto Uzumaki, and that's an order. Kiba smirked. For once it's an order I actually like. Sume for the first time in her life felt the urge to laugh. Even her, the most stone-faced of all Inazaka, had someone finally break down her defenses. She laughed. A full boisterous laugh. Kuromaru looked at her in amazement. In all his years as a familiar to her, he could count the number of times she laughed in front of him on one paw. Sume rose. Come on then, let's go. Kiba rose and was suddenly brought into a hug by his own mother. He stood there confused, then hugged her back. After a few minutes Kiba tried to escape, but his mother's grip was firm. Then he finally heard her small sobs. Then she looked at him. My baby boy is all grown up. Kiba blushed. Mom, don't call me that. I'm not a baby. Sume grinned slightly. Oh. Look at that, you have dirt on your face. She licked her finger to wipe it away. Kiba groaned. Moo mmm. Don't. No. Gah. Finally Sume released her Kiba. Okay brat, let's move, she said, putting on her stone face. Kiba smirked. You're not going to be able to keep that up next to Naruto. Sume looked at her son confused. And why not? Because his light can pierce even the coldest of hearts and shatter even the stoniest of faces. Hana and Naruto were having a blast. They went through all of the baby stuff, ogling it and gushing like babies themselves, then went into the kitchen and made some quick cookies made with a special cookie cutter that Hana's bridesmaids got her. It made and cut little penis-shaped cookies. They laughed and giggled while trying to eat the special pastries. They then had to go through one of Naruto's birthing exercising videos. Kiba and Sume walked in while Naruto gave birth to a huge bowl of chips. Hana tried to contain her laughter. Aw, a cute chip baby. Naruto exclaimed while grabbing one and eating it. Hana burst out. Don't eat it. PFFT. They both broke into laughter, Hana finally ending up on her back laughing. Then Hana noticed Kiba and Sume. She broke into a grin. Hey. Penis cookie anyone? She said, holding up the little cookie sprinkled pink. Kiba rolled his eyes. Ah, no, got any regular cookies? Hana then answered. We could break one of the balls off and then it would be a circle. Both broke into another laughter fit. Kiba turned to his mother, who was covering her mouth up, blushing a deep pink. Kiba smirked. Told y'all. Naruto got up. So Kiba, what's up? He said, trying to get back to being seriousness. It's all good. Although we are now engaged. Is that alright with you? Kiba was cut off by Naruto's lips on his. Naruto attacked him and pinned him to the floor. Then while sitting on him shouted, yes. Yes, yes, of course I love it. I'm going to be getting married. Naruto then got off of Kiba and hauled him back up, bringing the dazed brunette into another kiss. Guess what, Hana, I'm getting married to. Hana and him jumped up and down excitedly. Yeah, this is like the best day ever. Naruto shouted out in joy. Naruto nervously fidgeted with his light blue robes. His stomach stuck out like a sore thumb. He only had 3 more weeks before he was due. Everything was so far so good. Him and Kiba were getting excited for the upcoming arrivals, and so was Kiba's mom and Hana and all the girls of the Rookie 9. Naruto and Kurenai were both getting fidgety and nervous now that both of them were getting closer to their times. Naruto took a deep breath and, placing a hand on his back, waddled to his place in Hana's wedding, a bridesmaid. Kiba was in the back showing people to their seats and was also a groomsman. Hana was back getting ready for the wedding with her maid of honor. Sume was sitting up front in an elegant but simple olive green kimono with a sea green obi. Naruto fanned himself and shifted from side to side. Already his swollen ankles were bothering him, but he was a ninja, he could handle this. Soon everyone was to their seats. Kiba rushed up to stand next to the groom, who looked a little nervous and happy at the same time. Suddenly the band started to play the bridal march and everyone rose and turned to see Hana walking in holding a framed picture of her deceased father. Naruto was able to see Kiba start to tear up then. Naruto and everyone was awestruck by her. She wore a simple robe with the common length of train, but the way it sparkled in the sun captivated everyone. Her hair fell naturally at her shoulders, falling in sparkling waves. Her makeup did not mar her face. The little that was there only enhanced it. She was what every person on their wedding wanted to look like. She was a queen and an angel at the same time. She was godly beautiful in every way, but held a certain air of innocence around her. Her dogs, all 3 of them, were perfectly groomed and all wore bow ties, and followed behind her at a perfect respectful distance. At the altar she gave the photo of her father to her mother, then turned to face her future husband. Naruto and the other bridesmaids quickly situated her train and dress so it looked perfect standing there on the altar. The ceremony went on without a problem. The vows were well said and their voices were a little nervous but held strong. Then the kiss was perfectly executed. They kissed deeply and passionately, but they didn't hold it too long nor too short. It was one of those picture-perfect weddings. Everyone cheered and threw rice at them when they left. Then the bridesmaids paired up with the groomsmen. Naruto and Kiba instantly joined at the elbow and went down the aisle. The reception was perfect as well. She went with the Arabian Nights theme. Everyone had fun. They might have went a little too far with the traditional cake eating. Hana ended up smashing an entire piece in Inasaru's face. Naruto and Kiba sadly had to sit on different sides of the table, but they didn't mind. They got together and danced a couple times. Mostly slow songs because of Naruto's ankles and Kiba's inability to dance. Yet, around 11 Naruto started to drift off, which was taken as a sign to Kiba to head home, with the half-awake half-asleep blonde stumbling around. Kiba ended up carrying Naruto home. Naruto had his arms wrapped around Kiba sleeping on his chest. Kiba let Naruto down gently on the bed. Naruto stretched and positioned himself more comfy on the bed, not able to sleep on his stomach like he always did, and on his back hurt too much. Kiba sighed and fell asleep with Naruto, dreaming of the soon-to-be-filled nursery. A week later Kiba got terrible news. He had, and I mean absolutely had, to go on a mission. He was the only Inazaka with a fit family. He had to track down and capture an escaped criminal. Naruto was 2 weeks due, but he still wanted to be there with him, and who knew how long it could take. But your ninja duty came before you family, or soon to be. So Kiba half-heartedly got ready for the mission. Naruto sat in a chair, reading a pregnancy book, holding a can of what he had craved throughout the entire pregnancy, something that Naruto woke him up in the middle of the night to go 12 blocks to the store to get: sauerkraut. Naruto craved sauerkraut. He ate it out of the can raw. Naruto also preferred tomatoes, lots and lots of tomatoes. Sometimes he stole tomatoes from Sasuke. He couldn't get enough. "You going to be okay?" asked Kiba. Naruto rolled his eyes. "For the millionth time, Kiba, I have my sauerkraut." "Yes, I will be fine." Naruto grinned at him. "Just do the mission, don't worry about me. You do your best when you're not worrying about me." Kiba sighed but kissed him on the cheek, then leaned down and kissed and hugged his stomach. "Daddy will be home soon, okay?" He whispered, then got up and said, "I love you," once more, and left. They started out, Kiba, Neji and Shikamaru, and of course Akamaru. Despite what Naruto said of not worrying about him, he couldn't when that was all your teammates asked. "So how is he? You decide on names. When is he due again?" Question after question. They got the man's scent and profile description, and Shikamaru being the genius he was, thought like a criminal, which helped. They had tracked him down to the Red Lantern section of town. Kiba grimaced. He hated these places. But a criminal that just got out of course would go where he could get off without names or phone numbers. The only thing exchanged was bodily fluids and money. Plus the criminal was a notorious drug user, so they kept tabs on known drug dealers also. 3 days went by quickly. Twice the man slipped through their fingers. Kiba was getting testy. He was not going to lose him a third time. He was a trapped rat running out of places to hide. He couldn't run for anywhere, and he couldn't hide much longer. They would weed him out, and then pounce on him and drag him back to prison, and then he could go back home to Naruto. Sadao was the criminal's name, and they had him pinned down to this local 3 stories high whorehouse, for lack of a better name. Neji's eyes and Akamaru's nose confirmed that he was in there. So after setting up a perimeter barrier of clones and secret traps to make sure they were warned that he had escaped, Shikamaru gave the signal and they moved in. Naruto was with Sakura and Lee picking up some last-minute items. They had walked to his apartment, and no sooner than they put the stuff down that Naruto suddenly stood up. Sakura turned to ask what was wrong when she looked down at her suddenly wet feet. Naruto's water had broke. Naruto was going into labor a week early. She swore and went to him. Already Naruto was going through the deep breathing exercises, trying not to panic, even though Sakura could tell by his eyes he was scared shitless and was going through the pain of the first contraction. She called Lee over to pick Naruto up. They rushed to the hospital. By that time the labor had intensified. Naruto was screaming for painkillers and Kiba when they got him settled into a hospital room. Surprisingly, the 9 tails had formed a birth canal and all the proper body parts to give birth. Naruto clenched his teeth and groaned in his throat. Every so often he would wince. Instead of natural childbirth, Naruto went with using painkillers, so right now he had to go through the pain while waiting for him to become fully diluted. 3 hours later Naruto was fully diluted and ready to have his much-needed epidural. Finally he could start giving birth. "Where's Kiba?" he asked, clenching the bed's bars. "He's still not back from his mission, but Lee went to find and tell him." Naruto nodded, and with this contraction he pushed with all his might. Sakura, Tsunade and Shizune were in the room with him, giving him instructions and coaching him on. Kiba burst through the door first. His and Akamaru's shadow allowed Shikamaru's shadow to extend to all people in the main room, which allowed him to silence them all. Neji searched with his eyes through all the various rooms, ignoring the gruesome sights, looking for the man's chakra signature. All people had chakra, even civilians, it's just they never trained and honed it like ninja. They quietly as possible climbed the steps and went to the room Sadao believed to be was in. Akamaru sniffed to confirm it was him. Neji opened the door quietly. Sadao was spewed across the bed, having two girls feed him and one girl making her move to undo his pants. Kiba and Akamaru moved in a flash. He pulled the girl away from him. The man jumped from the bed and ran to the window. Akamaru met him halfway. The man froze at the sight of a terrible fanged beast growling deeply at him. The man backed away slowly, only to be intercepted by Neji, who quickly struck key body points, immobilizing him. Kiba hauled him across his back and carried him out of the room like a sack of potatoes. They rushed all the way back to the jail. After apologizing to the owner of the Private Pleasures Inn about the rough handling of the maids, they got Sadao in bars and were standing outside the jail ready to go home when Lee came running up in a cloud of dust. Following him, he stopped, slightly winded. Kiba, the power of youth has blessed you. Naruto has gone into labor early. With that, Kiba was gone. Shikamaru, Neji and Lee ran after him. Kiba burst through the hospital doors like a wild man, making some patients in the reception area jump. Sakura, who happened to be going through other patients' medicine before getting back to Naruto, was there. She sighed in relief. He ran over to her. Where is he? Is he okay? What's going on? Kiba yelled frantically. Sakura soothed him down, then said, "Come on. He had his epidural and everything is good. The baby's hearts are beating strong, and the first one is in the correct position. Let's get you ready." Kiba followed Sakura into the elevator where they went to the floor Naruto was on. She led him into a room and put blue hospital gowns on him, then booties on his shoes, and gave him a hair covering. From head to toe he was a dusty blue color. Kiba sent Akamaru outside, then followed Sakura into the next room. He saw Tsunade, Shizune and two other nurses all surrounding Naruto, who sat his feet in harnesses, spread wide apart as he gripped the side rails and groaned in effort as he pushed. "Come on Naruto, that's it. A little more," Tsunade said, kneeling next to the opening where the babies were to come out. Naruto gasped for breath, then said, "Will you stop telling me what to do? I am in pain here and you telling me stuff is not helping. Where is Kiba?" he said finally before taking a few more breaths and pushing once more. Kiba went up to him. Naruto opened one eye, his features softened a bit. "Good, you're here," he grunted before whimpering. Kiba grabbed his hand. Naruto grabbed his back with an iron grip, almost sending Kiba to his knees in pain. A few more painful pushes later, the first babies had appeared. Tsunade yelled to the other nurses, who jumped into action getting ready for the coming arrival. One more push and the first one was out. And true to Sakura and Hinata's predictions, two loud mouths together equal an even louder mouth. For this baby came out screaming at the top of his little lungs. Naruto sighed and caught his breath as he saw the little bundle. "It's a boy," Tsunade said. Naruto grinned at Kiba, who had tears in his eyes both from happiness and because he could no longer feel his hand. Naruto was not able to rest for long. He had one more baby to go, so while the other nurses wheeled the first baby away to get it measured and weighed and cleaned, Naruto had to push for the second child, and this is where he ran into the complications. The pain, that's all you feel. Even with the drugs there is no numbing this pain. It felt as though you were being torn apart. And imagine the worst cramps and muscle spasm you ever had in times that by 10, and that will describe a contraction. Then you have people staring at your intimate parts, sticking their hands and tools there and telling you to do this and do that. When all you want is to just grab a hold of something and try and get the pain to stop by pushing with such a force you feel as though you're going to burst. In a matter of moments you are drained of energy. Naruto stopped pushing to try and rest once more. He was completely wiped of energy. He didn't even have enough to get angry. He concentrated once more, trying to push with might that was not there. He moaned it wasn't working. He could tell this baby was different from the first. It wasn't feeling right. That's when Lady Tsunade, who also knew something was not right, she reached up inside and discovered he was backwards, legs first, and it was too far down the birth canal to change its position. She swore under her breath. She could tell Naruto completely exhausted. So she helped him out by guiding the baby. When Naruto pushed, it was coming closer, but then sirens went off. Tsunade knew what that meant. The baby's cord was being pinched, cutting off oxygen. It was all or nothing now. "Naruto, listen to me. I know you're tired, but to save both of your lives you are going to need to give me one good push for me." Naruto nodded, adjusted his legs, then drawing on strength he didn't even know he had, he pushed down with all his might. The baby came out then, but not without repercussions. While Tsunade and them were busy unwrapping the baby's cord and getting it to breathe, Naruto was in pain. A deep piercing pain on his insides. He drifted into unconsciousness. The fox was able to catch him there. Kit. Listen to me. You need to stay awake. You tore something down there. You need to stay awake, or you'll bleed to death. This is something I have no idea to heal. Naruto with a somewhat foggy mind drifted back to the conscious world, only to see flashing lights. He finally figured out that he was being wheeled quickly down the hall and they were the hospital lights. He looked around him. Nurses and Sakura and Tsunade were on either side of him. They were yelling out orders frantically, but the sound of everything was lost to him. They put a mask on him and instantly air filled his mouth and nose, dry air that made his mouth go numb and feel like cotton. They wheeled him into another room. It was dark at first, then 5 bright circle lights hanging from a big circle device turned on. He blinked a couple times. His thoughts were sluggish and he felt so tired, so very tired. He fought at the feeling for a bit then fell into the blackness, relishing in the quietness and peacefulness. I could get used to this, he thought. It was no nice. He could stay lost in this tranquility forever. No more pain, no more anything. In the back of his mind something told him that this was bad. But he shrugged it off and drifted off more into the black sleep. He continued on, forgetting all the pain he had went through. When he saw something up ahead, he went to it. It was a bright doorway, and from it he could feel peace and happiness coming from it. He wanted to go for it, but instead he just hung back to look at it some more. Sakura watched in horror as Naruto's pulse rate and blood pressure plummeted down at a rate that was above death but not too far from it. They had stopped the bleeding and fixed the problem, but sometimes it was too late. No. She couldn't think like this. He was going to pull through this. He couldn't forget about Kiba or his kids, she thought. She went next to his ear and whispered into it. Naruto, if you can hear me, stay away from bright doors, they will take you away from your family. Everything is good up here, we fixed the pain. But you have to come back. We can only do so much, but in the end it's you who decides whether you leave or you stay. Naruto heard the voice. Naruto backed away from the door. Even though he wanted to go into it, he turned from it. He turned and saw something that made him cry. It was Kiba and 2 little boys, maybe 6 or 7 years old. They looked identical. They both had Kiba's brown unruly hair, and his deep cerulean eyes. They stood next to a grave. He shouldn't look at whose name it was, but he had to. Uzumaki Naruto. A heroic ninja in our hearts. A true friend in our mind. Then one little boy said in a sad voice, but to Naruto it sounded like an angel's voice. I'm sorry, mommy, for hurting you. He said, wiping away tears. Kiba leaned down and said, don't you say that. You never let yourself think that you did this to your mom. He would give his life for you any day, so don't you say that. I would give my life for both of you also. But the little boy then said, don't, daddy, because then we'll never see you again and never have you to play with. Kiba nodded and brought the 2 boys to him in a hug. I'll never leave you, but I will give it my all to protect you. Just like Naruto, what your mother would say. Naruto then realized he had to get back, to make sure that this never happens, so he ran away from that door and ran out of the blackness, into gray. He ran and it got brighter and brighter, but this light was good. He could smell the hospital in it, and he could feel some dull pain, but he still went ahead blindly running until he came back into a room with the 5 lights with a big circle. Sakura was wiping away tears of joy. He grinned tiredly at her. The drug was making him sluggish, but he said, thanks for the heads up. Then he gave her a grin. Sakura nodded and hugged him, making sure not to hurt him. Then she said, let's go see your babies. Naruto nodded. They wheeled him back down the hall and into a room where Kiba sat in a chair holding a bundle, rocking it slowly. A look of utter relief fell across his face. You okay? He asked, kissing his forehead. Lightly. I'm not good until I hold my babies, he said, holding out his arms. Kiba laid the one he held into Naruto's waiting arms. Naruto gently cradled it. Instantly he felt so much better. This here was his door of light. Happiness and peacefulness enveloped him. How can you love someone so much that you just met? He asked, slightly choking with tears. Kiba wiped them away. Tell me about it, he said, gazing down passionately into his eyes. Naruto smiled. We're parents now. Let's name them. Is this the first one? Kiba nodded, smiling and sitting next to him. Yep, that's the loud one. Naruto grinned. I know we had names picked out before, but I want to name him Tobo. Is that okay with you? Kiba smirked. It suited the baby perfectly, for Tobo meant howl. Kiba got up and brought the second bundle over. They were both boys. Here he is, Kiba said, giving Naruto the next one. Naruto situated both of them so they laid nuzzled on his chest. This one is special, Kiba. I want to name him Tenchi. He's my little angel. Kiba raised an eyebrow. Not very Inazaka-like, but I like it. It fits him also. Tobo and Tenchi Uzumaki, and soon to be Inazaka. Kiba grinned and kissed each little head. which had soft brown baby fuzz hair, then kissed Naruto. Naruto grinned. I can't wait to take them home, and put them in their little crib, and give them their first bath in our apartment house. Kiba grinned and nodded. Yeah, me too. You need anything? Naruto nodded. Yeah, I wish I could hold them like this forever, but I'm very tired right now. I need to sleep. Kiba took both bundles and put them in their little boxes. Wait, is that right? Which one is which? Tobo was first. Are you Tobo? He said, looking down at one bundle then the next. Crap, I'm confused. This is bad. He carried both of them out and looked for Sakura. Sakura? He whispered loudly, not wanting to wake any of the three sleeping people. Sakura came to him. What? I don't remember which one was Tobo and which one was Tenchi. Do you know how to tell them apart? Sakura giggled and rolled her eyes. The first one has a birthmark on the left arm and the second has a birthmark on the right. And the first one was bigger. Kiba sighed. So Tobo is bigger, and has a birthmark on the left, and Tenchi has it on the right. Got it. Kiba left to put both bundles away. Sakura sighed and went to the waiting area, where everyone sat crowding each other on the chairs and couches. They all perked up to hear the news. Sakura said with a smile on her face. Two boys. Identical. Tobo and Tenchi. Everyone cheered. Sakura shushed them. Naruto and them are asleep. He's resting up from his surgery. Kakashi said. What happened? Sakura sighed. It's nothing now. We had some complications with Tenchi and Naruto had to get fixed up, but he's fine now, just tired. Ino interjected. Why did they name the first one Howl? Sakura smirked. That boy inherited Naruto's voice with Kiba lung capacity. You were lucky to not be in there when he came out. All of them could only imagine what Tobo's scream would be. Shikamaru piped up from the corner. Great, so the era of deafness begins. This is going to get troublesome. And then it finally dawned on them all, if those twins were anything like Naruto, they would have to watch out for their lives. If one Naruto was bad, then 3 was the end of the world. Just then Kiba came in, still wearing his blue hospital coverings, although he got rid of the stupid hairnet. Kiba got hugged or patted on the back. Kiba sat flexing his hand. What's wrong with you? Kakashi asked. Kiba looked up, then over to Asuma. When she is in labor, do not, for the love of Kami, let her grip your hand if you wish to keep it functioning. I finally got feeling into it. Asuma blanched white. Then to add on more to it, Kiba bent his wrist and a whole lot of loud cracking noises emitted from Kiba's hand. Kurenai chuckled evilly. You're going to get it good, she said. Asuma whimpered. Kiba then began to peel the blue foot coverings off. Sakura, you should talk the hospital into getting some shoes and not these things, because I almost fell and broke my neck going down the stairs. Just then they heard a siren in the form of a baby cry go off. Kiba stood up and then said, and so it begins. Then went jogging to the stairs and took them 3 at a time. Naruto sat in bed holding his 2 precious bundles of love. He couldn't get over how happy they made him feel when he held them. It was like the world could do anything to him, and the moment he held his twins he wouldn't care. Kiba came in then with Kakashi, Jiraiya, Sakura, and Sasuke. Sakura grinned and came to his side. Can I hold one? She asked. Naruto gently laid Tobo in her arms. Both had opened up their eyes and both had his deep blue cerulean eyes. Kiba's mom and sister with her husband came in yesterday to see the little grandchildren, as Sume put. Sume, like all other females, got very weird when it came to babies, so Kiba and the guys usually left after a few minutes of hearing the females babbling away like idiots. Jiraiya leaned over to get a better look at Tenchi. Yep, he's got his mother's eyes. Naruto smirked. Look, Tenchi, it's great-grandpa Jiraiya. Say hi? Tenchi just made a small happy noise and fussed a bit. So when can they go home? Sasuke asked. In about 2 more days. They have to do a few more tests on me and both of them, Naruto said, repositioning Tenchi. So what's everyone been doing? Any news? He asked. Sasuke smirked. Exactly 4 months, 13 days 18 hours, 34 minutes and about 24 seconds till I am free from Tsunade. He then smiled again when everyone looked at him. Sakura piped in. Neji and Tenten are engaged and are going to get married when they're both 18. A few months after your guys' wedding actually. Naruto looked taken aback. Him and Kiba were getting married next year fall. Naruto's favorite season. Why did they get engaged so soon? Naruto asked. Sakura made a few motions to Tobo then said, Tenten's dad was going to kill Neji if he didn't. Naruto's face was a perfect, oh. Naruto was surprised but said no more. Anything else? Sakura paused then said, well, Guy is all healed up, and surprisingly Shikamaru is now going out with Temari. Naruto couldn't believe what he just heard. When? How? Why? Sakura then said, well, apparently when Gaara came to visit you 2 days ago, she went out on the town, ran into Shikamaru and dragged him to a restaurant to congratulate him and thank him for giving her a tough battle in the Chunin exams. They then found out that they have a lot in common and in the end he just asked her. It was very shocking. Naruto and Kiba were stunned. Naruto looked down at little Tenchi. Tenchi, you're making me miss a lot of important stuff. But I don't care cause I love my little angels, Naruto said, kissing Tenchi's head. They talked for quite some time after that and then they all left. Naruto and Kiba were then left alone to bond with their babies. Naruto and Kiba were finally back home. The first couple nights was different but soon they got into the pattern of having two very hungry and attention-loving babies. And unlike other children they developed quicker than normal babies thanks to a small genetic inheritance from their mother. In fact, in month 1 they were already able to recognize both Kiba and his voice and face. They could roll onto their stomachs and do little mini push-ups. They could kick their legs and reach for toys and had the ability to open and shut their hands. They were ahead by 2 to 3 months developmentally. Tsunade was surprised at this, but believed no harm would come as long as they watched and monitored them closely. When they were 2 months old, Naruto was mostly over at Kurenai sensei's place. She was due this week so she could pop any second, so Naruto was there to help her. Asuma would have been there but he, like Kiba, ended up going on a mission. They were hoping that he would get back in time like Kiba. Tobo and Tenchi by this time could crawl and were beginning to say very short words. Naruto jumped up and down for Jiao when little Tenchi kaedim. Mama. Tenchi was the more curious one and got into stuff all the time, while Tobo just liked to roll around on his lay mat with his toys. Naruto had taken many pictures of Kiba napping on the play mat with both twins sitting on top of him. One picture was one of Akamaru sleeping and Tobo had crawled on Akamaru's side and sat there laughing and squelling in laughter. Naruto had framed that and put it on the wall next to many other baby pictures. During the first few weeks when they had the twins, Naruto stayed home and watched them while Kiba went on missions. Then after that they took turns. Naruto would go on missions for a week and Kiba stayed home. Then Kiba went on missions for a week and Naruto stayed home. Soon they had a set regiment. In between the time Naruto was training for sage arts and losing the weight he had gained while pregnant, Kiba would take the kids to go see Granny Sume and Auntie Hannah, as they would yell out when they saw the twins. The twins were much loved and adored by all of the teams and people who knew the parents, but they had some small problems with civilians who believed marriage was for one man and one woman, and for those who thought Tobo and Tenchi were demonic spawn because they came from a man, and from the holder of the nine-tailed fox. But other than that, those two babies were the happiest, with two, quite young, but able and loving parents, and that's all you need to have a family, right? As long as there is a parent that loves that child, it is a family. 2 days later Kurenai finally went into labor. It was hard because it was her first child and she had a small frame. But she finally gave birth to a happy, healthy little boy whom she had not named yet until Asuma got back. Naruto was with her in the delivery room. Kiba was at home with the twins waiting for the news. Naruto went downstairs to the waiting area to see if Asuma had got back yet. What he ran into and saw could only mean terrible news. Naruto froze. Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji were all in tears. They had went on the mission with Asuma. Naruto instantly registered that Asuma must have gotten hurt pretty bad. But there's no way he could have died. Could he? Shikamaru. What happened? Did Asuma get hurt? Shikamaru wiped his tears and stifled a cry. No, Naruto. He's not hurt anymore. Naruto's greatest fear was then confirmed. What happened? Shikamaru locked into his eyes. Akatsuki. 2 of them both immortal. We got rid of one, but it had some costs. Naruto clenched his fist and nodded. She's waiting for him, you know. Waiting to name the baby? Shikamaru nodded, another tear falling from his eye. In the background of the entire conversation they could hear Ino's wails, as Choji and Sai, her boyfriend, tried to comfort her in any way possible. What did she have? Shikamaru asked. A boy, healthy. He has Asuma's hair. Shikamaru sobbed then. He plopped onto the hospital chair and hung his head in his hands. What am I going to do, Naruto? How can I face Kurenai and say I wasn't able to protect what I had promised to keep safe? How can I look her in the eyes and tell her that the person she loved with all her heart on this earth is dead? Naruto sat next to him. Shikamaru. I don't know how either, but I do know you have to. You have to be the person to tell her this. Asuma talked non-stop about you to Kurenai all the time. He said you were the best student he ever had. And he was proud to be your sensei. Shikamaru's sobs caught in his throat as he wrung his hands through his hair. And you're wrong about one thing. You see, when it was just me and Kiba. True, my heart belonged to him entirely. But when I had Tobo and Tenchi, my love for Kiba didn't lessen, but I knew that if Kiba ever had something happen to him, I knew that I had to stay strong for my children. Kurenai will be sad. But she will still fight on because she has to be strong for her son. That's why Asuma is not the only one she loves on this earth. Because now those tears she will cry will be for her son. That love she has will go for her son. And that strength and courage she has as a kunoichi and mother will grow stronger. And soon she will live. For her son, Shikamaru nodded. Thank you, Naruto. Naruto rose, and grasping Shikamaru's arm he hauled the pineapple-headed teen up. Come on then, the sooner the better. Naruto walked with Shikamaru steering him and bracing him up by the arm. They walked into the elevator and waited for it to go up. During the ride, Shikamaru turned to Naruto and said, how can a person love so many people at one time, Naruto? I mean you and Kiba and now the twins, doesn't one of them become more important than the others? Naruto shook his head. It's hard to explain, but the day you have kids you'll understand. The moment I first held my boys everything in the world didn't matter. As long as I had them in my arms and Kiba's arm around me protecting me, nothing else matters. When you hold that bundle for the first time you will understand what I mean. You will understand how a heart can love so many people so much. Shikamaru, in all his years of knowing Naruto, could not believe that such wisdom and thoughtfulness came from the blonde. Shikamaru was shocked, but before he could say anything else the elevator stopped and opened its doors. Shikamaru stopped outside of the room. Naruto raised an eyebrow at him. On the inside you could hear a new mother coddle and talk to their child. Shikamaru took a deep breath and reached for the handle, then slowly opened the door. Naruto patted him on the back and nodded to him and then left, knowing that this conversation was meant for Shikamaru and Kurenai alone. Naruto went back downstairs, then quickly went to the hero's stone, knowing full well Kakashi would be there. When Naruto arrived he could see Anko holding and comforting Kakashi. Naruto knew that he should intercede with them, so he backed away slowly, covering his chakra signature. He arrived home. Kiba was on the couch laying down staring at the ceiling. Akamaru dozed at his feet. They asleep? Naruto asked quietly. Kiba nodded. Naruto sat down. Asuma died. Kiba sat up in a snap. What? He said, whispering it loudly so as not to wake the kids. On the mission they ran into the Akatsuki. He sacrificed his life so Shikamaru and them could get away and formulate a plan. He's telling Kurenai now. She had a boy. She hasn't named him yet. Naruto then started to cry. Kiba pulled Naruto into him, hugging and holding him tight. I am scared, Kiba. What's going to happen? Are the Akatsuki going to come after me? Kiba shushed him and stroked his hair. Shush, don't worry about that right now. Okay. No one's going to ever take you. No one's not going to dare. Kiba said, his eyes hardening into that feral wild dog look. Naruto gave him a small smile. Okay then, but just in case, I think we should go to your impound and live there for a bit until we know more. What do you think? You mom and sister have already got a second nursery for the twins there already? Kiba nodded. Yeah, if that will make you feel better we will. Naruto nodded and kissed Kiba with all his heart. I love you, he said. Kiba held him tighter and said, I know. Naruto climbed out of his lap. We will finish this up later. Right now I have to go and comfort Kurenai, okay? Naruto said, giving him a smooch on the cheek. Kiba smirked but squeezed Naruto's hand. Naruto went back to the hospital, leaving Kiba to pack whatever they might need at the compound, which wasn't much. Kurenai was wiping tears away as she rocked her baby. Naruto knocked on the doorframe. Kurenai bidded him entry. How you feeling? Naruto asked. I don't know, was all she said back. Naruto sat next to her and wrapped an arm around her shoulder. Naruto then gently cradled the baby in his own arm. As Kurenai sobbed again, his chest and shoulder, Naruto rubbed her back and rocked the baby while comforting both of them. He had learned how to multitask much with twins. Kami. Naruto. I know I have to be strong with little Hiroki. Naruto inwardly smirked, for Hiroki meant abundant joy and strength. Naruto shushed her. Don't worry, you are strong and you're going to be even stronger. You have a heart, you're human, you care. You would be inhuman if you didn't shed a tear for him. And I am not going to say it will be easy. You're going to have to take care of Hiroki by yourself now. You have to get up every time without taking turns like you had planned. you're going to feel lost. You'll feel as though you can't do it, like you weren't meant to be a mother, Naruto sighed. There were times when Kiba was away and I couldn't get little Tobo to stop crying. I felt as though I wasn't cut out for this and I messed up. But you know what, no matter what you think, no matter how you feel, you have to keep rocking that baby. You have to feed it, you have to change it, because unlike you it can't do anything for itself, so it needs you to do those things for it, because in the end you're his mother no matter what. And although he can't say it yet, he loves you with all his little heart, Naruto said, smiling down on her. Kurenai ran out of tears to cry. Her eyes were puffy and red, her hair hung limply at her shoulders, her face was slick with tears and snot ran from her nose. But to Naruto, when Kurenai gave him a smile, he knew that she just had a part of her heart mended just then. Well, I have to get back to my babies. You need any help or anything, just call me, okay? He said, handing Hiroki back to her. She nodded and cradled him. Before Naruto left, he turned to see Kurenai looking at that baby as though it was only her and him in the world. Naruto smirked, then said silently, "Those tears she's crying, Asuma. They're for your child now. Hopefully you're watching her right now, because she's loving for both of you now." Naruto then left the hospital and went to his apartment. Kiba left a note saying he had everything and the twins and him were waiting for him. Naruto eagerly pressed onto the compound to go and see his babies and Kiba again. In the light of a full moon, two figures stood upon a great wall that ran a great height and length around the nestled village of Kanogakure. "Itachi, are you sure about this?" said the distinctively blue-skinned man. "Yes, I have the proper papers and keywords to prove of my innocence. It's time I returned back home," said Itachi Uchiha as he finally was able to settle his eyes back to their proper color of ebony. "Why are we doing this again? Pain could kill us." Itachi shook his head. "No, he can't. He lost Hidan and Kakuzu lost two of his hearts. Orochimaru left us and now is dead thanks to my little brother, so that leaves Sasori, Jiraiya, Zetsu, Konan and Pain for the last of the Akatsuki." Note: Madara Uchiha will not be appearing in this fanfiction. He died in the battle against the 4th Hokage after he summoned the 9 tails. Okay? I don't want High in here, he just mess up everything. Also note that Jiraiya and Sasori are alive. You see, instead of Gaara and the whole Save Gaara arc, I am having them attack the village and try and get the 9 tails first. Extra cookies for originality. I think. Anyway, back to the story. Just trust me on this, Kisame. If we can warn the village and stop them here and now, we will be free men, and can finally live in peace. Kisame Hoshigaki didn't really care about the Akatsuki. He went anywhere his best friend went. Over the years of being partnered together, slowly the truth about Itachi's so-called annihilation of the Uchiha clan, it was somewhat false. True, he did kill most of the people that were planning the rebellion, but anyone under the age of 3 or people who were known to be against the rebellion were taken and moved into a private section of the town and sworn under secrecy to disguise themselves. Only Sasuke was told the lie under the wishes of Itachi to the 3rd Hokage, who agreed. And so even today that secret has been passed down to the next Hokage. The 20 children of various ages and many elders and young couples were saved from the Uchiha massacre. The children were raised under Akatsuki and had their identity kept hidden from them until the Hokage gave the say-so, which was hopefully going to be soon, as the main leader of the entire cover-up was finally returning home. Itachi and him quickly moved out to Itachi's eyes and ears of the village, the one he had returned information to. Jiraiya the Toad Sanin. They arrived at his door and Itachi did the secret knock. Jiraiya was at the door in an instant. He let both of them in. They masked their chakra and entered. Naruto and Kiba had moved into Kiba's old room until they got any further information on the Akatsuki. The twins were down the hall from them and finally started to sleep through the entire night, much to the relief of their parents. Naruto paced the floor, his arms crossed behind his back, a small scowl on his face as he concentrated. Kiba watched, amused by this. Akamaru laid on the ground beside the bed, also watching Naruto. Finally Naruto stopped because he had the feeling someone was watching him. He looked into 2 sets of dog-like eyes. "What? I am thinking." Kiba snorted laughter. "Yeah, I know, it's funny watching you." Naruto glared at him. Kiba sighed, then stood up and grabbed Naruto by the waist and dragged him into a sitting position on Kiba's lap. Kiba then proceeded to massage Naruto's back and shoulders. "You are too tense. You need to relax. The twins are out on a picnic with their grandma and aunt, so you need to stop worrying. When was the last time you just relaxed?" Naruto turned to him to answer, but Kiba's lips covered his. Instantly Naruto forgot what he was going to say. It had been too long since those lips and those hands had been on him without all the distractions. Naruto wrapped his arms around Kiba's neck and leaned into the kiss, positioning himself until he was in a sitting position on Kiba's lap. Kiba sucked on Naruto's bottom lip, making moans escape from the blonde. Kiba's arms wrapped around Naruto, dragging him in even closer. Naruto then ran his fingers through Kiba's hair, relishing in the sweet sounds that erupted from Kiba's throat. Naruto already felt Kiba's hardness on his inner thigh, so Naruto teasfully rocked against it, making a chill go down his spine and more groans to come from Kiba. Kiba nuzzled Naruto's neck, opening his mouth and letting his canines rest gently against Naruto's skin. Naruto tilted his head back, giving Kiba more room. Kiba gently grazed his teeth along the fine contours of Naruto's neck, not applying any more pressure, just gently teasing the blonde. Naruto let out a moan and bucked hard down onto Kiba. Kiba answered him by finally biting him just above the collarbone. Naruto shifted his hips and let out a moan. Kiba pulled his head away from Naruto and looked at him. Suddenly Naruto found himself lying on his back on the bed. Kiba lay on top of him, kissing every square inch of his neck. Naruto ground his hips against Kiba's, liking the feeling of friction. He could feel the delicate curve of a smirk against his skin where Kiba rested his lips. Kiba removed Naruto's shirt, then ran a trail of butterfly kisses along his abdomen and chest. Naruto could only lie back and moan in the sensual feeling. Kiba was back up to Naruto's head, clapping it with both hands and kissing him deeply, then finally his tongue darted out and took Naruto's captive. Naruto moaned around the appendage and clung to Kiba even harder. Kiba started to give small thrusts into Naruto, which Naruto absolutely loved. He broke away from the kiss and arched his back, saying, "Oh, Kami." Kiba kissed his chest in an answer. Then Naruto helped Kiba out of his shirt. Their skin glided against each other, soon becoming slick with sweat. Naruto had undone Kiba's zipper and Naruto was now trying to kick his own dishundering pants off. After a few minutes they were finally free from all clothing and were now relishing in the fact that they could finally be intimate without worrying about the twins waking up. Kiba bit and growled, finally free to do as he pleased, and Naruto whined and moaned like the vixen he was. They joined together with sudden gasps. Kiba was now fully inside Naruto, filling the blonde to the brim with his member that throbbed so very much. Naruto shifted his hips and flexed certain muscles to close around on Kiba's member with even greater force for even greater pleasure for Kiba. Kiba thrusted into the blonde for half an hour with quick, powerful and sometimes erratic thrusts before the blonde was pushed to the edge. Naruto held back the scream as he came, with Kiba giving a more subdued howl when he came also 5 minutes later. Kiba pulled out once again, making a whine come from a certain blonde. They laid side by side, panting, "Oh, man. Kiba, that was amazing." Kiba finally caught his breath. "You think? It's been a while since we were able to do it so freely," Naruto smirked. "Don't worry, when they get older and move them farther away from our room we'll be able to do it more." Kiba smirked and pinched Naruto in the butt. Naruto jumped slightly, then glared at him playfully. "I was wondering, when do you think it will be a good time to have more?" Kiba looked at him. "Well, maybe in a year or two when we have better control over Tobo and Tenchi. I mean, I don't want those two to be too old when they get siblings. What do you think?" Naruto paused and looked at him. "I really don't care. I mean, when they are 16 I think we can stop then, or at least until I get a little girl," Naruto said, blushing. Kiba turned up an eyebrow. "You want a little girl? Well, hopefully I give you 2 girl twins next time. Then we would have shot 2 birds with 1 stone. We get 4 children just like we talked about. And you also get your little girl," Kiba said, smiling at him. Naruto nodded. "Yeah, that would be nice. But just think. What if I had triplets next time? That would be fun," Naruto said, giving Kiba a quick kiss, then turned over to nap. Kiba blanched. Triplets? Wait, nah. Don't go to sleep. Wait. We have to talk about this. Oh dear. Can't wake him. Too cute. Kiba sighed but got up quietly and fixed things up. Went to the bathroom, took a quick shower and went downstairs to see what was going on. Itachi Uchiha, Kisame Hoshigaki, and Jiraiya stood in front of the 5th Hokage's desk. Sasuke was sent out on a quest to find a scroll that didn't exist in the Hokage archives. First, Itachi explained his mission issued from the 3rd Hokage himself, bringing out the documents that he had saved for this day. Lady Tsunade reviewed them over critically. They were real, no one could mimic the 3rd's elegant handwriting. He had a certain way of doing the curves in his letters. He wrote everything to curve, bend and naturally flow, mimicking the motions of a crane treading through water. Tsunade even dug through a bunch of old papers hidden in a secret alcove in her office they too were written by the third Hokage, explaining the events he had to take to keep his village safe. Tsunade had no choice but to accept it as the truth. Itachi Uchiha was not a criminal but merely a greatly misunderstood hero to the village. She knew she couldn't execute him or have him arrested, but to much of the ninja population he was known as a SS-rank criminal. She would have to slowly introduce him back into the working shinobi ranks. That was if he even wanted to be a shinobi still. Itachi Uchiha. I believe you. You had quite a mission and sacrifice to this village. I will reinstate you as shinobi if you wish. Itachi looked at Kisame then to her. I will only be a ninja as long as I am partnered with my best and greatest friend, Kisame. He the only one I will work with. Our jutsus and battling style coexist perfectly. Tsunade glanced at Kisame who was trying to appeal to her good side by smiling. Little did he know that sharp teeth didn't make a very sincere smile. On the outside she said nothing but on the inside she was laughing her head off. She cleared her throat then said. You will stay partners in the Anbu Corps if you wish. As long as you promise you are still not after Naruto Uzumaki. Itachi shook his head. If we really wanted him long ago we would have took him then and not wait around for Jiraiya-sama to show up late. Jiraiya glared at him. It was your fault for casting that genjutsu on such a beautiful woman. I couldn't help not doing some research. Besides your brother showing up saved the plan. Tsunade had an anger mark near her left temple as she listened to Jiraiya. Then the mention of Sasuke got her attention. Oh, thank you for reminding me. She pulled up a small device with a microphone. Sasuke, time for you to come back. Over. A disgruntled meow was heard on the other end. Then a few seconds later, Sasuke, in full uniform, was in front of her desk. Tsunade winked at them then said, Sasuke, now remember you're still in uniform, so I want to ask you what would you do if I told you where your brother was? Instantly a series of meows escaped from the teen's throat, as he clawed at the desk with his little glove paws. Oh, such a good kitty. Tsunade said. Come on, show me how much you like your master. Crawl to my side. Sasuke went to his hands and knees and quickly scampered to the fifth side, and started to paw at her legs meowing. His eyes were wide and bright and really did look like a kitten's eyes. Such a cute kitty I have, such a smart good kitty, she said, baby talking to him. Sasuke surprised everyone by starting to purr low and loud. Oh, my kitty has worked on his purr. So good, she said, patting him on the head. Now Sasuke, stay there but look that way, she said, pointing to three grown men who were trying to stifle their laughter. Sasuke looked that way and instantly the purring stopped to be replaced by a very confused and shocked kitty. Then the kitty turned angry and pounced towards Itachi, but Tsunade caught him by the shirt and dragged him back into the position. Sasuke fought against her, hissing and spitting and yowling angrily. Bad Sasuke. Bad. She took a rolled up scroll and whacked him on the head swift and hard. He stopped momentarily to shake his head and rub it from the pain, but then tried to get free from her once more. Tsunade hit him a few more times over the head, this time adding chakra. He stopped the noises and moving completely as he laid on the floor. Slightly passed out, he snapped back awake and saw Itachi once more. He eyed the scroll that Tsunade held at the ready, and this time he only hissed but stayed put. Tsunade looked at the three men. Jiraiya was the first to lose it. He laughed side-hurting laughs while Kisame tried to stop himself by clapping a hand to his mouth, but it was no use. He and Jiraiya then braced each other up, trying not to fall down from laughter. Itachi had closed his eyes and was smirking wildly and shaking his head. He then snorted, a small bubble of laughter escaping him. Then he couldn't contain it no more. It was just too funny. All three of them were crying from the laughter and holding on to each other, pointing at Sasuke and babbling like idiots about how funny it was. Sasuke merely sat eyes to the floor, trying not to draw any more attention to himself. He played without really thinking, with his tail batting it around in front of him. Finally they got their laughter under control. I am sorry, that was uncalled for, Itachi said, avoiding looking back at Sasuke. Tsunade smirked. Okay Sasuke. I'll let you out of uniform only if you promise to sit here quietly and not attack Itachi. You have to listen to the secret he's going to reveal about the clan massacre. Sasuke got a faraway look in his eyes, but he nodded. Itachi then went through the entire account of the massacre with Tsunade, showing Sasuke the official papers. Sasuke said nothing the entire time. When everything was said, Sasuke merely stood and calmly walked to Itachi, then looked up at his brother. Then he hugged Itachi. Everyone in the office was surprised by this. Itachi slowly wrapped his arms around Sasuke and hugged back. They heard Sasuke speak in a muffled voice. Why, you're my favorite brother. I don't want to kill you. Soon both brothers were crying into each other's clothing and talking about how sorry they were for each other. After several minutes they finally split from each other. Itachi looked down at Sasuke, then gently removed his cat ears. Sasuke blushed slightly. I forgot I was wearing that. Then he grabbed his tail and ripped it off and took his paws off as well. Why are you dressed like this anyway? Itachi asked. Don't ask, Sasuke said, trying to return back to his cool self. Tsunade then reinstated both ninja into the Anbu Corps and gave them their new uniforms. Kisame took the code name Shark, while Itachi resumed the retired code name Weasel, after they had put on their new Anbu gowns, and Kisame went to get his tattoo. Itachi then confessed an even more dire secret to Lady Tsunade. What? Lady Tsunade screeched at the top of her lungs. I am afraid it is true. The Akatsuki are planning to attack the village and go after the Ninetales soon. With what army? There is only 6 of them. Itachi cleared his throat. Yes, but they are believed to have ransacked a few of Orochimaru's hiding holes and have taken what people that have survived and have put them into an army. Sasuke would know about the people in there. Sasuke then butted in. They're not people. They only have a guise of people. Most are combination of different DNA strands that Orochimaru put together and gave life. They are monsters. Jiraiya shook his head. How many do you think are capable to fight? Take orders, be in an army. Sasuke paced the room. Most of them are unstable. They thirst for bloodlust. However, they have animal-like instincts, which means if the sense that there is someone stronger than them controlling them, they will listen. All was silent for a bit. However, a lot of them have unbalanced molecular systems, meaning a lot of them are supersensitive to changes in heat and coldness. Their test tube creation made in a perfectly balanced environment. The minute they get outside they have to deal with the elements. Many of them could self-destruct before they could even get here. Tsunade looked at him. So you're saying that they will be weak to ninjutsu? Sasuke nodded his head. Yes, I mean they are quite strong and have weird abilities. But if we hit them fast and hard with strong attacks that could register a molecular crash, they will go down. Tsunade sipped her tea, liking the odds so far. But what of Pain? What do we know of him? Itachi then spoke. I'm afraid very little. Even I couldn't get much on him. I only know he came from the Hidden Rain village and Konan the female never leaves his side. And I sense a powerful aura around him. Tsunade sighed. What would be the best course of action? Itachi mulled it about a bit. I would gather the entire ninja force, Anbu and all, and tell them that you have received word of a full-scale attack, not by who or for what, but an attack, and I would house a private meeting with Uzumaki Naruto and all those close to him. Tsunade nodded. Yes, that would be for the best. Sasuke, she said, get me more tea, then go and gather Naruto, and everyone else who is not on a mission. Then go to the missions board and messenger system and tell them to get everyone back here at once. And send out Best Hawk to Suna and ask for Assistagni. She then wrote in a special code about what was happening for Gaara to read. Sasuke hurriedly got her tea, picked up the finished scroll and was out in a blast, running at top speed. Itachi turned back to her. And what of us? She glanced at them and said, stay here and we will wait for Naruto and the others to get here. Itachi and Kisame nodded. Oh, I'm sorry, do you need something to eat, drink? Itachi nodded. If you don't mind, Jiraiya. Go get him food to eat and something to drink. And bring me sake. Jiraiya looked at her. What? Why me? Tsunade cracked her knuckles. Do it now, old man, or I'm going to shove that scroll in place where it will never see daylight again. Jiraiya went ghostly pale and Itachi let a sweat drop as Jiraiya ran fearfully out of the room. She then turned back to him. So tell me, Itachi, what have you been doing with yourself lately? Itachi gulped, then said a silent prayer to the gods. Dear Kami, save me from this insane Hokage. But on the outside he smiled and said, nothing much, you? Sasuke ran to the missions board, told them to stop assigning missions by order of Hokage. Then he went to the messenger corps and they sent their fastest hawk to Suna with the urgent and important letter from Tsunade to Gaara. He then ran all the way to the Inazaka compound. He knocked on the main house door. Kiba answered. Sasuke? What do you want? He said, surprised. Lady. Tsunade. Wanted, and Naruto. He said, gasping for air. And you? He said, almost falling forward from the sudden weakness that overcame him. Kiba caught him by the inner arms and held him up. Sasuke, what the heck, man? Naruto came down rubbing his eyes from his nap. Kiba, what's wrong with Sasuke? Kiba shrugged. Sasuke strigitined himself up. You too, to the Hokage's tower. I must go get others. And with that Sasuke, half crazed and half exhausted, ran to get the others. Naruto and Kiba looked at each other but went and got dressed, then ran to find Sume and Hana. They were returning from their day out. Both babies were asleep, so Naruto gently kissed both heads then whispered, I love you, to each one. Kiba ruffled each one's chocolate brown hair. They then told Sume and Hana they were ordered by the Hokage for something urgent. Hana replied, it's only urgent when the messenger is half dead. Kiba and Naruto looked at each other then said, then we have to book it. Kiba whistled for Akamaru, who was there an instant later. Kiba dragged Naruto onto the dog, then they rode off towards the tower.
That's all for now. If you want to see next part, then please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.